even, but we'll see. And yeah, Morbius was goodness. So
I mean, like,
I
at
didn't
least
even
with
see
Craven, they're
Morbius.
going. I don't know. I think the meme was that no one did, and they released it again anyways.
Did they
Ooh, that
re-release it?
reminds me of a note. Yeah, that was like the whole
Wow.
meme. Like because of memes, like it's Morbin time and stuff like that. Sony actually re-released it, and then they made they made like
Ouch.
$20 or something crazy. They were like, oh my, and the internet was like, oh my god, they really fell for it. Right, that to me, I was saying on pods, like Queso can attest that I was like, this is where Sony should just really sell it back to Disney. Just sell it back to Disney for like hold it ransom, get that bag. Because otherwise, I feel like they're gonna sink more money than they're gonna get.
Facts.
By the way, Popbot, Endless Popbot. Popbot is my old host from the Theorist Cast, the kind of MCU nerd show that we used to do about a few years back.
Right on. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice meeting you, Endless.
Yeah. And I've been doing a few streams with Endless. He's super big about workers' rights and a really cool guy. And I just like chatting it, chopping it up with him and just really get into the nitty gritty of stuff.
Talk about a lot of different stuff on my channel for sure.
But yeah, so now that you're here, I want to shoot it to you. I wanted to get your opinion now that you finally got to bootleg,
finally seen the movie.
Spider-Verse. What do you think of that? What are your thoughts? I want to get your quick review on it.
So my only gripe, and of course, spoiler alert and everything, but like my only gripe was the fact that it ended on a cliffhanger. I can't tell you, like, I can't rate that thing anything above an 8. Like if it had anything other than a cliffhanger ending, it would be a 10 out of 10 for me. But I just can't. I hate cliffhanger endings with a passion.
What if it was does the fact that it was always meant to be a cliffhanger and we should have known it change that for you? Because I'll give it to you, they did not put that in the advertisement except for the first teaser over like the first teaser a year or two before the release. It was like a part 1. Everyone lost their shit, and then was like, oh, it's now across the Spider-Verse and beyond the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
But we're still supposed to technically know that it was a part 1 of 2.
Okay. See, that makes me feel differently about it then. Because
yeah, and I'm with you because I didn't see it either, and it took me a minute to be like, oh shit.
I was legitimately mad. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was tight.
A lot of people didn't know that was coming in. Like there were in some movie theaters, there were like people groaning and booing when it ended because they didn't know that.
So in our theater, like people clapped, and I had to be like, yo, this isn't an airplane.
What up, Blaze?
So I think like Mission Impossible is doing it right. So the Mission Impossible, their next movie, it's like they're telling you right now, this is part 1. And so I think the movie was really good, but it was going on long. And where we were at in the movie, I was telling myself while I was watching it, there's no way they can bring this home in a decent manner in 10 minutes. Right. So there's got to be a part 2. So I do like that they're pushing it to part 2 to tell a whole other story, because I think that's one of the biggest things that tanks these movies is they try and tell this complicated story in
90 minutes.
In 2 hours. Yeah. Exactly. And they throw the most ridiculous garbage in there to like just move the plot along. So yeah, I know the frustration. I think they should have done what Mission Impossible did, is say, Across the Spider-Verse part 1, and let everybody know before they went in there. But I think they didn't do that because it would have reduced their opening weekend sales, right? No one's rushing out to see a part 1 of a movie. Nobody's doing it. Yeah. That's my opinion.
I don't know though, because that's there was Infinity War, you know what I mean? And
yeah, but it wasn't but that's the thing. I think that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to go for that Infinity War of like yo, there's gonna be part one, but it's its own other movie, right? Like Infinity War still felt like the end, because I get where you're like, it felt like, because I'm with Queso, I was in the movie and she's like,
Infinity War had a
movie's about
definitive
war.
ending. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I think the movie's gonna. I'm like, nah. Like, it's getting up to the climax. You know, we're gonna have a big fight. We're getting there. We're gonna get it there, and then it ends, and I'm all like, well, fuck.
Yeah,
That's also different
ending.
because if you're a comic fan, you knew what was going to happen the whole time.
Yeah.
I felt like, again, the last 30, 40 minutes, I felt like, hey, they're going to put a part 2 in here. But Infinity War, they gave you a satisfying ending, even though you know there was going to be another part. They gave you something that took you. I mean, there was silence, right, when the screen went off, right? There was, when you watch Nick Fury turn into dust, there was like everybody. They didn't know what was going on, but it was satisfying.
What do you mean, Nick Fury? It wasn't Nick Fury. It was Peter. It was all like,
oh yeah,
I don't want to go. He's like, and that's when everyone's grabbing their partner's hand. It's like what? No, we just got him.
Right. People were fucked up about Peter. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And as I said with T'Challa, it was all like, it was them not realizing that Black Panther was going to be as big as a hit as it was.
Right.
I guarantee you, if they did, they would have put him in Endgame. He would have had a bigger part of Endgame if they knew Black Panther was as big as a hit as it was.
That's interesting. That's it. I've heard that argument before too. But yeah, that part 1, I think a lot of people had a big problem with. But it was a beautiful movie.
It was, absolutely.
Yeah.
The artwork. Oh my! Especially with every time Gwen was on screen with her dad. Just the artwork, like you can see like the colors streaming down in the background. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Also, just another. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were we saying?
No. Go.
This is a nerd nitpick. When I was a kid, my 2 favorite Spider-Men were Spider-Man 2099 and Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider. So this was
so how do you feel about their portrayals in this one then?
It fits with as far as Spider-Man 2099, if you're an old head like me and you remember Spider-Man Unlimited from back in the day, there was kind of that juxtaposition of where Miguel was a relatable character in that regard because he felt true to his nature. And it was kind of the same thing with Ben Reilly, but it was more like Ben Reilly was a parody of himself. Because it was like the narrator or the author was like very self-aware of how just keeping it being how shitty maximum clonage was.
But I think that was the whole point. Like that idea was, it was like a nod, like, this character, nobody really likes Ben Reilly. What was it?
He's grimdark. Like
God, what is his name? Adam something. God, of course I'm gonna read his name right then.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, Andy Samberg.
yeah. Fucking because he's
perfect pose.
He's at the end of the day, he is Peter Parker. He's like a perfect clone of Peter Parker. But like the whole point of the maximum clonage like story arc was like this grimdark shit where it's like it turns out Peter Parker's really the clone this whole time, and just a bunch of stuff that's like it felt like how Batman vs Superman felt, where you had all of the dark qualities of both characters and none of the actual things from their actual origin to balance any of that shit out, because the reason why making them dark in that manner was so subversive was because they were children's characters when they first came out.
Yeah, that maximum clone is a lot of people hated that. I kind of didn't like it.
I loved it, but
really, like, so that all these Peter Parkers that you've been reading for years, they were clones. They weren't the real Peter Parker, and he was trussed up somewhere, man.
Mind you, I was God, like 7, 8, 9 years old. So take that with a grain of salt. That's it. Yeah, but I thought that was nostalgia.
It's the coolest story ever.
But even putting myself in my mindset at the time of like a child, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, Peter has been the clone the whole time.
Yeah,
my mind was.
It sounds like Rick Grimes was in a coma the entire time, kind of stuff.
It was like Bruce Willis has been dead the whole time type beat, because Sixth Sense was popping at the time too.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's yeah, my opinions of comics have changed as I've aged. Like I'm reading Storm #1 right now, and dude, it's not good at all.
You know what wasn't
It's
good
No, it's
too?
not.
Gambit.
no,
Gambit was not good. Like
really.
in a way that was truly disappointing.
I think I've got it, and I haven't read
I
it
was
yet.
hoping Storm would have been like the new Storm,
Oh,
because
dude,
like
the story's
they've been doing
so
some interesting
bad.
stuff with her, like X-Men, like kind of like really amping her up. Like, no, she's one of the most powerful mutants ever. Like,
They're
so I've
they're
been kind of
doing
digging, like, yeah.
they're doing stuff like X-Men get your opponent, and I'm like, what? Nobody talks like that.
Right.
And then they have the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants literally hot-footing it. We better feed it out of here, and they're running from the X-Men. It's like, did he just say we better boogie out of here? Like, what are they doing?
Am I?
But if I
You're
was
like, am I being
12,
pranked?
yeah, if I was 12, that would be like, nah, it's cool. They're boogieing out of there. But I'm not 12 anymore. What are they doing? But
But
yeah,
I'm also like, but I'm like 12 for who? Because I don't know if like a today's 12-year-old would read that and be like, that's cool.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because a 12-year-old today is definitely not the same
Yeah, way
12 I
different.
was.
Like I was reading there's like, I don't want to get too far off. I want to stick with Spider-Man. But I was reading like the old Static comics, like getting into them like as an adult. I was like, yo, let me read the original like run from Milestone. And it's still like a product of its time. Like, oh my god, this language is so dated.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Where I was like, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I would love if this
That's
was
whack.
rewritten. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
word through word. I
Like,
would love this
take a
was
chill
rewritten,
pill.
but not like this.
Exactly. How many panels had chill pill and whack in it? For sure. But here's one
It's
thing
like
I
jive.
really loved about the movie, coming from the comic book
Yeah.
nerddom. Every world and every character, if you look at how they were drawn, it was lifted
Accurate.
from those books.
Yep.
That was
At books,
amazing
cartoon,
that they were
everything.
able to do that. They lifted it from that comic. Dude, that was, and seeing every world different, a lot of people like, and looking at Gwen Stacy, if you read the Gwen Stacy comic, some of her lines are lifted directly from the comic, but that opening scene with her going crazy on the drums, those are in the books, and they take that panel and they drop it into a movie and make it real. It's amazing, man.
Right. See, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to have you on, because a lot of these pods I'm hearing, or like a few of these I'm hearing, like people aren't, don't really read these characters. They're they're new fans of them. They're like, some are even self-admitted, like, I was never even a fan of Spider-Man, but I'm like, that's cool, right? But also,
I
like,
literally used to call myself Spider-Man in high school, so
right.
for me.
Like I said, he can attest. Popeye, case like, my thing was parkour flipping around, right? If I wasn't a ninja, I was Spider-Man, right?
Right. I just went rock climbing today. Actually, my arms are tired as shit.
But yeah, no. But since we're all here, I did want to like kind of push it into the conversation that we kind of keep walking back into, kind of like is like what I feel like the main theme of this film is, especially just seeing it again, like rewatching it and just seeing it a few hours ago. I really do feel like as you were saying, that the theme is allyship, right? It's like allyship. Where do you belong? Like, and to me, it's how like I kind of was hypothesizing that kind of this is what it felt like, what it means to be like, really like the way at least how it spoke to me was being like a black kid that doesn't really feel like you belong, right?
But see, that's two different
And
things.
as you said, like, but meeting, like I said, meeting those people like Gwen, and like where they accept you, but they don't fully do but they're like, they still have these shortcomings.
So
right,
I
and
think,
then meeting Hobie and Spider Bite, who like, oh, we got you.
I think so. It's easy for speaking for myself and also you, Lucid, just from conversations we've had. It's easy for us to read that into Miles, but like, he's from New York fucking city. Like, he's definitely surrounded by his people. You know what I mean?
He's being surrounded by, as we talked about. I guess it was different. Remember, you weren't necessarily surrounded.
Yeah, right.
I
right.
was, because my school.
Well,
I
yeah,
was,
that's true.
But I wasn't. But because of my program, I was in a magnet school. I was, like I said, I was white boy. I was Oreo.
Oh
right?
yeah,
so
this totally makes sense for you, because like it's almost like, you know what I mean, like you
Like
have
you
just
see
this
his best
one
friend,
specific
Genki.
this one specific
Yeah,
aspect of
Genki,
your
yeah.
life, but it happens to define so much of your other life that it puts you in a certain social group necessarily. I get what you yeah.
Exactly,
Even
right?
more
So,
so
like,
for
his
you,
only
for sure,
friend,
yeah.
right? Because if you remember in Into the Spider-Verse, he was at a new school,
Right.
right? We forget that, like, this school is a
He
brand new
was.
school for him, and like he didn't know anyone. First person he meets is Gwen, right? Who happens to be tailing him, but still, it's like he's like new school, new smart, super smart black kid at this new school. Sure, he's in New York, but Popbot can attest he's from New York, right? Just
Right.
because you're from New York doesn't mean like you're always necessarily accepted as a was a black nerd.
Baltimore
in New
is
York,
very similar.
New York is hard.
right?
New
Right?
New York is there's not a more clickier place to go to high school in. But I just want to
Yeah, go.
I want to, and I know Endless wasn't here at the beginning. I know a lot of people have been talking about allyship, and that's what this movie's about. And I, again, coming old school, right? I'm in my 50s, right? I don't I don't believe the movie was about allyship. I believe the movie was about an old concept, right, of just nerdism, about believing in yourself and being who you are no matter what. And I think, again, that Rio, they're showing you like that. Rio was amazing in this movie, right?
Oh yeah,
And
no,
that scene where
absolutely.
he's like,
She was
no
great.
one my age says those words in that order. That was just like every parent, right, can identify with that. But she, you know, her son is her life, it's her heart. And no matter how different Miles has been and all of the challenges she knows he's going to face, she brought up this man to believe in himself. And what Gwen and Peter do to Miles needed to be done in the movie so Miles could say, even though the people I care for and respect, I know I'm repeating myself, the people I care for and respect are against me. They don't believe in what I'm doing, and they don't even believe I belong here. I've got to do me. I've got to believe in me. You know, my mom loves me. My dad loves me. I've gone through all of this. And so, again, when I was coming up, these nerds were outsiders, right? So here you have Miles. He's not truly an outsider. He's got his clique, but now his clique is telling him, dude, you don't belong and you need to just give up the ghost, right? And let your dad die or whatever horrible things and I think that needed to happen from those people so he could lean into himself, which is what all nerds need to be able to do. Lean into yourself.
I would agree with that.
I do you have something to say or unless or
I was just gonna say I would agree with that, and I think that's part of what makes Hobie, like Spider-Punk, such an interesting character, is because from my read of him, like having literally been an American version of him without the spider powers, but like my read of him is that coming from that scene, like that music scene and ostensibly that social circle, that lifestyle, is like you get heavy into, and probably more so in the UK, but like you get heavy into like the individualism and the anarchism.
Exactly.
And it's like he was saying, it's just a basic nerd quality of like, you have to believe in yourself because you might not always be able to rely on other people, or systems might fail you, or what have you. And that's kind of the classic theme I see here. And like you were saying, allyship is important because that's, I feel like, where Hobie comes in, because he's reconciling his like individualism hangover because of his like social background to the fact that now he has, with great power comes great responsibility, right? So he has this entire other thing.
This young black kid.
He has to do this. That's like
well,
go ahead.
Or because I did want to and I want to hear what you're saying, but I wanted to not necessarily push back, but kind of be like, that's what I'm kind of mean by like it's allyship, because it's not really allyship, but it's like but it's about like allyship and like how you used to, I'll say, like you used to tell me, finding your tribe, right? And I was trying to think of the best way to say it, but this is really what it to me what it was about. What is not so much about like finding it within yourself, because I feel like that's kind of like, oh, look within yourself, but I feel like that's like I said, that's why Gwen and Peter had to be in the positions they were in, right? That and why Hobie and Spider Bite, Morgan, I believe her name, did did what they did, right? And I feel like online it's very much like, man, fuck Gwen, fuck, she's the worst. She did so Peter dirty. And I was like, she's a young girl that was afraid of, and even if you want to put it by the, the headcanon that people want, or people have been saying, she's a young trans girl who's afraid of being sent back home where it's illegal to be who she is. Quote unquote.
This is Gwen?
Right? So yeah, Gwen.
Okay.
Right? So like if because the headcanon and Twitter and like the idea is that like she's trans coded, right? That she's actually a trans woman, right? So even if that is or isn't the case, but for a lot of people that are like fuck Gwen, or at least I was saying cornbread, I'll just put it out there, are like fuck Gwen, but I'm like, well, aren't we also about looking out for those marginalized? Like if for a lot of them they will code her as trans, but are also like but she wasn't a good enough ally. And I was like, sure, but she was a 17-year-old runaway trans girl, right? Who was all like, hey, if I go see Miles, they may send me back home to where I'll be arrested for being quote unquote who I am, right? Which in this world is Spider-Man, you can write it as is, it's illegal for her to be trans. She left home for that, right? So of course she's not going to cross Miguel.
I'm seeing
and right, and be like, oh, hey, by the way, you're an anomaly and this and that, and like it kind of like she is even in the very first like flashback scene. It is she addresses the fact that like I hurt him. I thought I knew the whole story. I didn't. It relates to the fact that he was an anomaly. I didn't want to hurt him, and I did. Right, meaning that like it was showing. It literally showed the end scenes, like them on the train in her flashback of when she's doing the drums. They show the end scenes of her on the train, and she's basically. So I don't know if it's like if it's meant to be a flashback or whatever, but it's basically her over that beginning narration is her referring to the fact is basically like I was a bad ally to my friend, right? I so desperately didn't want to hurt him. I was afraid of hurting him. Hell, I didn't know how to tell him, hey, you're an anomaly, dude. You weren't supposed to be Spider-Man. Yeah, that's really what she needs to say, and he's gonna feel great. You know what I mean? He's like, Little Rose, I didn't know what to tell you. Peter just didn't say anything. He turned away because he truly was like, I don't have an excuse. I'm a white man that went with the status quo, right? And just kind of went with it. I don't really have an excuse. Gwen was like, I really wanted to tell you. I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid if I told you, she said that to Jessica, like, don't tell Miguel. What if he sends me back home? Like that was a constant fear of hers that if I don't, as he said, I found a group that accepts me. If I don't play in line with them, I'm going to get sent back home to where I'm going to get sent to jail. And God knows what's going to happen to me if I get sent to jail. Right.
But my feel though is that the outcome was still the same. You know what I mean? She still said him or me and got him dealt with. It just is what it is.
And again, at 17 years old, and are you gonna say something? Okay, so like, but remember, she's 17 years old, right? There's two things that are she's a child that's going to be like, okay, let me stand between this guy that literally like that might slash my face off, right? Like they both were like, as soon as he trapped them, they're like, yo, Miguel, what the hell are you doing? Like this is too far. While Hobie's like, get out. This is how you get out. But they were doing, like, for quote, without mentioning words, they were doing their white thing, like, yo, can we talk about this? Can we do, you know what I mean? As opposed to swinging.
I was gonna say this too, because I think Miguel's full of shit. Because like Miles is very obviously not the first anomaly, and when he first said that shit, I was like, yeah, all right, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, he's hiding something.
He's definitely wrong about his whole canon theory. I'm pretty sure it has to do with the incursions, but that's I was gonna say,
like either way, whether you go with the canon or the incursions, like literally in the like Miles happened at the end, like you know what I mean. There was the anomalous portal or whatever. Then the spider came out. Like Miles didn't have shit to do with any of that.
Oh yeah, no. So, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like that we're gonna. That's where the whole like Gwen realizing that like, oh, his canon theory is flawed, right? I need to go to Miles, and I need it. I can see her being like putting her life on the line for Miles in the next movie. Like that's where they're gonna get, and that's where I feel like that's where they're setting it up. Where it's like she
Probably.
had to learn how to be a good ally. That's why I feel because this movie isn't one. It's made by two white men, so let's remember this is made by two white men that
Yeah.
made the Lego movie. So this movie isn't just made for. This isn't Atlanta made by black people, right? But they are two white men that understood like what lens this needs to be spoken through. But this is almost just as much Gwen's movie as it is Miles's movie, and it's about her learning to be a better ally. I feel like, being better ally, him learning, to really look out, like who's looking out for your back, because her speech to him of, they're not gonna look out for you the way that we do, right? When you're out there, you're gonna meet a lot of people, you're gonna, meet a lot of cool things, but I'm afraid they're not going to look out for you the way that we do. Which, I'm saying like, okay, that is definitely a reference to what, of course, is her future fear that Peter and Gwen aren't going to, step in line and do what they need to do, right? But it'll show that like, oh, but who she is referring to is who's going to be Hobie and Morgan, right? These like the people who are going to look out for him as if he is one of their own. Right.
Yeah.
That was her big speech before he disappeared. Is like, yo, I'm basically laying out. You're gonna do some crazy shit, but they might turn on you, and you got to be able to look at like, who's gonna look out for you. The way he looked at Spider Bite, like, baby, don't do this to me. Like I felt it. I was all like, Morgan, don't do it. I knew she wasn't gonna do it, but I still looked at. I was like, don't do it, girl. Don't do it, baby girl. Don't hit that button. Let him go. Like I still felt it in his eyes.
And also that kind of stuff, like, yeah, you're only left with two conclusions. Either Miles is not actually an anomaly, or like you were saying, the canon shit is false. It has more to do with the incursions themselves than any type of thing that they can control.
But okay, so I wanted to hear. I know you jumped on mic real quick. What did you want to say?
I mean, like you said, it is written by two white men, so of course it's gonna have. I don't know, because like a good chunk of that team is gonna be people of color, because you have like the Asian girl, then you have like Spider Bite, and then Hobie, right? But it is gonna have like a little bit of that white savior complex in it, because of the cliffhanger at the end. They're gonna be the team that goes to save Miles, and I do have a feeling I forgot her name, but the pregnant one, the other Spider
Jessica.
Woman, yeah. The way she looked at the end, she looked like very disappointed again. I have a feeling she's probably going to jump ship, right? That's just my hypothesis. Hypothesis, I can't test that. My theory. But I do feel like, yeah, we get to see the 17-year-old girl really fuck up, right? She really fucks up her friendship, and she gets to see the consequences of it. But then we get to see her, like you said, really put her life on the line to make amends. And isn't that what we want, right? Like when we see someone make a mistake.
I agree. That is just good storytelling. And I think that what Hobie brings is Hobie's a more mature version of Miles. Hobie's been through it. He's been in a similar culture. He's older. He's been rebelling longer. So he had Miles back from the get-go.
All right.
Right? And one of the things that they make a point to show you is how much Gwen idolizes Hobie. Right? There's like Hobie's an older version of Miles. Gwen has it in for Miles. Like she really cares about Miles and she sees Miles becoming as cool as Hobie. And I like that scene where Miles is like, how can you take your mask off and get even cooler? Right. So all of that.
Mask.
Yeah, that was all of that was awesome, but I think it's great storytelling, great writing, how the writers work hard to put all of this story together to tell a story that so many people can really identify with. You've got the parenting, you've got the young adults going into adulthood, you got the nerdism, you've got making mistakes and correcting your mistakes, but it's all done in this non-corny way where we see all these movies with these ridiculously corny scenes. Let's go get them, that kind of stuff, and this didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so so I with all that I did want to kind of speak on the fact that like I'm with you, Endless, where it's like I don't believe that like like Miguel's not right, he's like his anomaly shit is like wrong, right? But I do feel like it's the incursions that and the reason I believe that is because of the like that when he says like this is everything and he shows like the timeline thing, it's the same timeline we see in Loki and in Ant-Man and Quantumania. So they're using MCU iconography, right? They mention they mention MCU Peter, right? Tom Holland and Doctor Strange, right? But in the way he mentions them is almost as if he blames them too, right?
Right.
And the one thing we've already kind of realized is that like sure he did some wacky shit, but that didn't break the time. Like what Peter and Doctor Strange didn't break the timeline, right?
It just
What broke
split
the
it.
timeline was Loki, right? What broke the timeline was Lady Loki killing he who remains,
Right.
and
But they
letting
don't
the
know that.
multiverse, and yeah, nobody knows that off in the timeline and at the end of the universe, someone broke the timeline, right, and set everything straight, and that's why incursions are happening because their timelines hitting each other, right? Sort of in the same word that incursions are like universes bumping into each other. I think because we also see Donald Glover as the Prowler, not just Aaron, but the Prowler, which means he's upgraded.
Right.
He's a full on villain now, right? Why is he a villain? Who knows? But he's a full on villain now, as opposed to like just some street criminal, and got sucked up, during one of the warps, right? Either during Peter or during Miles or during Peter's, getting people sucked into different universes, right? He might have when Venom got sucked out, Donald Glover got sucked out with him, right? And ended up in a new world, and then Miguel Hobie took him in because he brags. I brought him in myself, right? I slipped. But the sheer fact is that like that means that Across the Spider-Verse, as far as I'm concerned, is MCU canon. It's connected to the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I think Miguel's gonna bring it home in the next movie.
Yeah.
So no one's talking about Spot, and Spot's the villain here,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Spot's the villain, but the struggle is Miles figuring out who he is. That's Miles' struggle. Gwen's struggle is figuring out what it means to be a true ally. Miguel's struggle is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? Is he catching villains or is he going after another Spider-Man? And Spot, who is a ridiculous character in the comic book,
Right.
they did an amazing job to start this guy off as a side note, someone to make fun of. It's like that goofy kid who thinks he's a bad guy and you slap around, right, with one hand. By the end of the movie, Spot is a monster.
He has like
right?
godlike power.
exactly.
You know what's crazy?
And he's
In my
going into the
research-
next movie and he wants to destroy Miles and his family. Now who can protect Miles or help Miles against this guy? So and the way he was drawn, dude, whenever Spot, as you see him get darker and darker and more powerful, it's just the drawing, the animation that they use for him, dude. It's an epic movie.
What's crazy?
It's just a beautiful movie.
Is that Spot? His arc is literally backwards of what it was in the comics. In my research, when he was first introduced in the comics, he kicked Spider-Man's ass twice. He made a fool out of Peter. Like the way that he was making a fool out of them in like Mumbai Town, right? Is the way that he just wiped the floor with Peter in their first meetings, right? But it was that very like writer started making him a joke, and for some reason it was only the original writer that seemed to understand the potential of his portal ability, right? But so it's so crazy that like in the comic he starts off as a joke, starts off as like this villain that just wipes the floor with Spider-Man, wipes Spider-Man with wipes the floor with him, then becomes a joke because of writers, and now they're bringing it back around to his origin, right? And it's so weird that like most people view him like, oh, he's just this joke character. It's like no, they're oddly kind of bringing him back to form,
Right.
Yeah.
right? his
I
inability.
like that they threw him
Yeah.
into that movie, and he is amazing by the end. He disappears for a long time, but when he is on the screen, especially later, he takes up the screen, and you really feel like this guy's a real threat. But there's a lot going on in this movie. There's just so much going on, but they do it well.
Yeah. I've always thought of Spot as a silly character because, yeah, I was reading comics in the 90s, but like there was always that part of me that was like, that's actually kind of an insane power if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like this,
Interdimensional.
like like scroll up, queso. Yeah, you see this right here, like this. You see, like, Peter getting the shit knocked out of him. Like that was his first appearance. That was like some of his first appearances. Was that like he could not predict his movement. So it is, the fact is that I think Spot is a testament to what really means to be a good comic book writer and to make really good characters, because the fact is that, like I said, the only person that was able to make him interesting is his creator and these people that can understand his potential, where like everyone else is just like, he's kind of a joke.
Yeah, that's one of my beefs
got-
about comics, right? You'll get a run with one writer and one artist, a group of writers and artists, and it'll be the most amazing run. And then a year later, that same comic book, it's like, what happened? You know, because they switch. But yeah,
he's also just like a little OP, so they probably had to power scale him a little bit, and then they just ended up making him a joke because of power creep.
I don't know, cause like I said, I didn't read it, but in my research, where people were going over his history, it was very much of like he was introduced and then he disappeared forever, and then people picked him up and it was like, he's a throwaway character to get beat up.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, someone in the background, but he was never like it. But I get what you mean, like how some characters like had to be power creeped and then it kind of get ridiculous. This wasn't a case where he was one of those forgotten characters that then starts getting pulled out to be a throwaway.
Yeah, every time I've seen Spot, he's been portrayed in the comics as like silly and no one's taking him seriously. I see this one where he's looking pretty Diesel fighting Spider-Man there, but making him punch himself. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So and like being able to like and getting fast enough, he caught, like, I remember a scene where he like picked up a bunch of his dots, made a shield, and caught his webs. Like Spider-Man threw a web net, caught the web in like a portal, and it just disappeared. He's like, "Here, I got this for you," right? And it was just all like, so. I'm trying to think of other characters that have gotten that treatment where they start off like they're a really cool concept, but no matter what, like all writers only see them as a joke.
I'd say maybe not quite as a joke, but they definitely power scaled Sabretooth, because Sabretooth used to be like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd want to give I want to see like if you guys had any predictions on how you think the next movie is gonna go. Like, how do you think like me personally?
Miguel's gonna be the hero.
Yeah, for sure.
Miguel's gonna like he's gonna like, what do you mean like be the hero? Like he's gonna stop Spot?
So again, I'm just theorizing.
I thought
here,
Miles.
right?
I thought you said Miles.
No, I think Miguel is going to sacrifice himself to stop Spot.
I was thinking that it would be Gwen.
No.
But I can still see, like, because here's why I would want Gwen, because I feel like that is the only way for her to be redeemed in the eyes of people that hate her for not being a good enough ally. That she literally is gonna have to like lay her life like, I'm gonna get stabbed.
This is still a business. This is still a business. So if we're just looking at it from the business aspect,
Gwen killed
Stacy and all her different iterations, she is one of the most money-making characters for Marvel right now. So they're not gonna out her.
They're definitely not gonna kill her.
Somebody has got this version, Spider-Woman. Somebody has to die, and if anybody's gonna die, it's going to be Miguel because he has to redeem himself for all the bad that he's done.
I think Peter B is gonna get clapped.
Who?
You think Peter?
Peter B.
Like
Oh,
new dad? New dad is gonna they're gonna kill a new. I don't know if they're gonna kill a new dad.
Bat Spider.
Dad Spider? I don't know if they're gonna kill Dad
Psych.
Spider. Now, I'm like you saying that makes me like no, Miguel for sure. Like if it's between him and Miguel, they're definitely gonna do Miguel, and I feel like my idea can still fit in. Like Gwen's gonna sacrifice, like oh I'm gonna give myself, like save Miles, and like I'm gonna die. This is it, and then Miguel's gonna be like, and he's gonna be like oh it's gonna be like classic scene where he's like, open my eye, am I dead? And it's like Miguel like. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's like, oh, like he
sacrifice.
Right, like he's gonna sacrifice himself. He's gonna sacrifice himself for her.
Gwen's gonna kiss Miles, and Miguel's gonna sacrifice himself. That's what's happening.
I don't want that prediction. I hate that prediction.
I think I don't know. I think Miguel is potentially like a secondary villain. I don't know. I don't trust the dude.
Oh, it would be crazy if him and Spot. It'd be funny if him and Spot team up to try and get Miles.
Yeah,
man,
they both
fuck this
want
guy.
Miles.
He said it wasn't a Spider-Man. Let's fuck him up.
But I mean, they straight asked that in the movie. Like, is he even really a Spider-Man? Like, you know what I mean?
I love the line. I love the line. Like, he's like a vampire Spider-Man good guy, and he's like a vampire good guy. I pay good money to see that. And I'm all like, and it made me think I had to be like, at first I was like, that's Mobius. That's a Mobius joke. But then Queso was like, that could be Blade. And I'm like, ooh, I love a Blade joke even better.
Damn.
Like if that's a Blade, like a vampire good guy and they're referencing Blade.
It's both of them.
I mean, come on.
I mean, Morbius is so part of Blade's origin, so.
And
so good.
Yeah,
man.
You're right. There's just so many things. Just even so Hobie's line. Like Hobie has so few lines, but you're still like, wow, like every line is so hit.
Understand it. Yeah. Understood completely.
Just even like he's like, I'm just gonna pretend like you're not here. He's like, I'm not even here. Or here.
Coming like
and I was like
being at least around American people from that specific subculture, like skinheads and shit, like yeah, I feel like Hobie, like he's dealing with the individualism, but also now not just that he's like got his own community, but like he has to take a big brother role because he's not gonna, and that's what I also think. I don't really think that Hobie and Gwen are romantically involved. I think that was like tried to be implied, but I think he's legit just for
sure. I think he's more big brother. He's big brother to Gwen, but
that was just Miles's worry. Like the show's like, oh, ooh, young teenage boy.
Yeah,
but even then, like he's 15.
Right.
Miles is 15. Gwen, I don't think can be any older than 18. I think she's 17.
She's 17.
She's 17.
I thought she's 17 so in the movie. Yeah.
I can't. I didn't hear. Did you hear her give her age? I just remember
at the beginning.
They were in high school together in the first movie.
Mm-hmm. But remember, she was undercover, so she wasn't even like meant to be in the high school. She was in undercover, but because she was tailing him. But I remember Rio being like, she looks like she's old enough to vote. So I was like, okay, so she definitely looks grown.
That could just be worried mom though. Like,
but it's still like
that's so good. Like no one's good enough for your son. That's so awesome.
She probably doesn't even speak Spanish.
So Puerto Rican mom, exactly.
But I do love the whole like calling her white. He's like Rio. Oh, you call me by my first name. Oh, nice.
Exactly.
Jeff. Oh, she used my first name. Great. No, but that's what I feel like all those lines, those little bit of lines. That's why I feel like it's about like allyship and like finding your tribe, because it was so much about like because there was constant comments about like, yo, I don't like your friends are all right. I don't really know like how do I feel about your friends? You know what I mean? That Asian kid. He's like, I don't really like him. Yeah, you like him. He calls me by my first name. It's not respectful, right? And he's like, who's this white girl that keeps showing up in your bedroom? Right? and it's one of those like, can you? It is just that simple. Like, do you know any like nice black kids? any nice black girl that could like hang out with, right? Like you can see like any nice sweet, any nice Puerto Rican girls, you know, in the neighborhood. Come on, right? You can feel like the way they talk, where they're just like, we like I see like these are the kids you hang out with, but I don't know if these are like your people, because at least like they're not my people, right? And as as I pointed out, like it's about him finding himself and Gwen, like he was like, oh, Hobie's like, oh yeah, she's like Hobie, and his jealousy from hearing her admiration for him, Hobie, until he took that mask off. I just saw that movie. All that went out the goddamn window. It was immediately like It was like when she met Jessica. She's like, can you adopt me?
Yeah.
He was immediately like, can you, I want to be you. You are the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I want you, I want you. I want to be you. Like you can see it in his face. You can see it in the and like Kobe's attitude. Like I see it. You know, young kid looking. Like I used to be a teacher. Like but I used to be a teacher. I see that. Like I'm like I get that. Right? And he's like, yeah, all right. You know what I mean? Cool older brother kind of vibe. Right?
And that's definitely a common thing in the punk subculture too.
Right. Exactly. And the minute he sees Morgan, I can't want to call her Margot or whatever. But Morgan. So in the minute he sees Spider Bite, I don't even think he looks at Gwen like that way anymore. It's all a business, right? He wants to sit there and talk to Spider Bite. Gwen has to pull him away, like, yo, Miguel's gonna chew our asses out for this. Right? But he rather just sit, as soon as he saw Spider Bite, he was like, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? You know, my uncle, taught me music and shit. Like he was ready to be like, fuck Spot, fuck the mission. Yo, who's this cutie right here? Right?
He's a 15-year-old guy though, so that's
but I feel like at least like me and Endless have talked about this, about in that case where feeling like there are no like at least I know it's like a little different with Endless because he was a little more like in the sauce,
isolated,
right? But right, but feeling like there aren't like black girls that like that you can relate to, right? Where it's like as like being alone in that, and I was talking about in your last stream with all the other guys, right? Being the only not only black guy but like almost black person. Yep. Right, in the anime club, so there's definitely no cute black girls there, right, for you to talk to after school, right? And like being openly, as you said, Popbot, like being openly into certain things doesn't really get you the girls, right? Being open in the comic books, right? Like that's different now, right? I feel like that's that's kind of stuff's different now, especially because of these movies, right? But back then, yeah, no, it wasn't cool to be in this stuff, and it didn't meet you like girls in your neighborhood or girls that like look like you, right? But what happened? He met a spider girl, right? That happened to be white, right? That was like, hey, you look at me more. You look at me, right? You spend time with me. You think I'm cool, right? Of course, I'm gonna have a crush on you. He's a 15-year-old boy, right? That's why I don't like the idea that they're gonna kiss. Because I like more the idea that's like he has feelings for Gwen because Gwen is the only girl he felt like he can relate to like that. And he says like we are the same, at least in the way that matters. He didn't realize there's a whole society. He's like, oh, there's a black girl where we're the same in the way that matters. Hello, I like your hair. Right? It's like where are you? What universe are you from?
Maybe
right?
he finds a nice non-spidered powered person.
Maybe, you know what I mean, but I mean, we all know how that ends up. You know what I mean? It doesn't generally end up like Peter B's situation, right? They end up like One More Day and shit like that.
It took a whole fucking otherworldly entity to end his relationship with Mary Jane. So you never know.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But it had to. But they made it happen.
It took like a literal act of not the God, I guess, but like an act of God,
like act of death,
to fucking eliminate that relationship.
Yeah.
And trying to save Aunt May. So
that too,
which I feel like is such a wasted thing. Like
how is that a wasted thing?
Not wasted, but I mean like I'm talking about like MCU Civil War, where it's like where that was such a cool not really cool, but that was like a concept that came from Civil War and him revealing himself. That Aunt May got hurt, and like one scene that I remember that like stuck with me is him being in the prison.
There's no way Sony would let him do that though.
Oh yeah,
Sony was not gonna let them do that with their character. Yeah, no.
but I would have just loved to see like just having Tom Holland beating the snot out of like what's his name, the guy that plays Kingpin and in the Daredevil show.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Because I just remember that scene, like, as Peter, he wasn't even like in the costume, he was just in a prison because they were like, oh, we know who you are, and he's like, all right, and he just beats the snot out of him, and he's all like, I want you to remember this, because if anyone comes after my family again, I'm gonna kill you, and it's gonna be Peter killing you, not Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
And he just walks out like shirt off, like beats them to the ground, and it's all like, I'm like, yeah, no, I want more of this. Give me more of this in the MCU, or even just like, Sony, if you're gonna do it, do this. If you want to do something different, give me a Spider-Man that's gonna like
a little
hurt
too
somebody.
dark for current. Even though we did get, I mean, it was Sam Raimi, so it was gonna be dark, but like lighthearted dark, if that makes sense. But yeah, Multiverse of Madness, I feel like it was as dark as it's gonna get for mainstream MCU.
I mean, we got Werewolf by Night.
Is that a movie?
That was no, it was a special presentation. It was on Disney Plus.
It was a movie on Disney
Oh wow,
Plus,
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
It was like an
I missed
hour,
that
so
one.
I don't know if it would like you consider like a movie.
Yeah, I was
think
gonna
that's
say
dark.
like for like the
I
theaters.
don't think it's dark though. Yeah, Werewolf by Night isn't really dark though.
But it's like it's on I guess on the spooky side.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, it's supposed to be. It's kind
What
of
you're
a
describing
spoof.
would be cool, but that would definitely be like a Daredevil series. Like that would definitely be a
Exactly.
TV show type of vibe.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that while it's like a Daredevil type of vibe, like we got that from Peter, and I just love those moments that illustrate those little things, because we're so used to like seeing him fighting regular people, or like fighting like other superpower people, or just seeing him pull his punches. So it's always those little touches. Like I love the little touches when she got when Gang got thrown back to her dimension, and her watch wouldn't work. She picked up that like fucking like crate or like a steel shipping container and just like casually tossed it like it was a fucking chair. Like a chair at Waffle House. He was like, God damn it. And I was just like, oh yeah, like these little things were like, or in the Superior Spider-Man where he Doc Ock punched the jaw off
Punched his jaw off.
The Vulture, and even he was like,
his jaw off. I think I had that issue actually. I have the issue where
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. I remember
Yeah,
that.
I've got that entire run. I loved the Superior Spider-Man until the last two comics. It's like, what did they do? They destroyed a great run. I'm back because I'm back. It's like
I picked the wrong run. I picked Scarlet Spider. I followed that almost all the way to the end. It was good, but yeah.
did they not bring it home? I had a lot of Scarlet Spider, but I didn't read the entire run. I don't know if they brought it home.
They
Did
didn't
they end
really.
it well?
Not really.
Yeah, Marvel has a bad problem with that. Like, they don't know how to end a story arc effectively that makes you feel satisfied.
Do you think it's because they always struggle with the fact that they want to bring things back to the status quo?
It's money. It's
Yeah,
money.
I
It's
But that's what I'm saying. Like, bring it back to the status quo
There's
for
that
money. What
too,
we can't do too much different because people might not pick up the Spider-Man comic. So let's bring it back to where it was.
It's not necessarily that. It's that there's only certain places you can go with certain things, and so you end up. Yeah, well, it's kind of also what you're saying too. Yeah, where it's like people also don't want things to be too much different for too long. Like people didn't want Wolverine to be dead, obviously.
Yeah, of course not. Another big
Yeah,
money
no.
maker for him.
No, I remember how much like the death of Wolverine was like. How much like I remember the noise online about the controversy of that.
Right. It's like the death of Superman. Like it's gonna the comeback is in and of itself worth so much money just because people will be excited for it. Even if they aren't excited for it, they're just gonna go back to whatever.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like there are ways to like advance these stories without losing money, and like I said, that's why I say fear. Like, it's kind of like a fear, like, oh, we're fear of straying too far from the status quo out of fear that it won't sell. But it's but it is like, is that even founded in anything, right? How much is that actually founded in, I guess, quote unquote, science, right?
Right.
Or numbers, I would say. Is like, how much is that really founded in numbers that like people really won't stick with something if things don't go back to the way if things aren't a Saturday morning cartoon and things go back to the way they were.
Yeah, the executives just aren't willing to risk it. That's why I'm so surprised with this movie that it came out again and it's still a banger. It's still a winner, and it tastes just like the first movie, you know. And I'm amazed that they were able to pull it off.
Okay. No, but like I said, but I mean, on the final note, that's why I think that there might be some sort of special deal that Disney has, where it's like, if you don't want us to write Spider-Man out of the MCU and you lose those $1 billion checks, like at least the cut of that $1 billion, you do right by him. None of this fancy shit you want to do.
I'm trying to see Kraven the Hunter. That shit looks fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I hope they don't mess it up. I so hope they don't mess it up. It looks so good.
Have you heard of Blurred Without Fear? Have you heard of that creator?
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of his stuff.
He points out how, like, if this was just like a movie about like some hunter dude that's just going after like poachers and shit like that with like crazy animal powers, it would probably be a banger movie.
Right.
But the fact is that like this is supposed to be a Craven movie. You're like, you're losing before you're even starting the race.
That's true.
The guy doesn't even sound like Craven.
He doesn't.
So
I'm considering it. It's a different universe. Is how I'm trying to, because I used to have this gripe all the time, and my father would always be like, when we would go to watch movies, and I'd be like, nah, it sucked. It wasn't exactly like the book. He'd be like, why are you like this? Like, I'm trying to now that I'm like, okay, it might, just because it looks exactly like you're saying, if it was just a movie that was just like this dude with animal superpowers hunting poachers, that would be badass by itself. So I'm trying to be like, it would be as if I pretended this was a Craven movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I don't know.
I think the problem comes is when they try to force these movies into something like, hell, honestly, like, as dorky as more, I didn't see Mobius, but like, I'm sure, like, I feel like a big part of it comes from the fact that like it feels like knockoff movie, like it's not just a movie about a guy that turned himself into a vampire.
It's just probably just not a very quality story. Yeah, I just wasn't interested.
Right. You know, so the idea that, like, you know, these ideas can't like live on their own or can't just hold a movie, like they have to be part of this like property story that are meant to mix them with other shit. Because as like even in the trailer, it's like this, it's like is this supposed to be why he's afraid of he hates Spider-Man? Because he got lost in the woods and spiders came down. So is that what he wants to kill? What is happening? Right, and it's almost like
I think that you've got to at least let the studios present the character the way they think they need to. You know, everything doesn't translate directly from, you know, written to movies. You know, Starship Troopers. If you read the book, I love the book. I also love the movies, but they're two different. Yeah, they're very, very different, and you couldn't do the movie the way the book is presented, right? So, you know, Craven, he's an interesting character, but he's a real bad guy. Like, Craven is a bad dude.
He's gonna be the villain in the next Spider-Man movie.
He's a killer. He's a murderer, right? Kalen is a hunter. He's not like, I'm gonna trap you and then let you free. No, I'm going to hunt you down and then I will take you apart with my hands. Right? You can't like make a movie about that, you know. Yeah. So
it's called The Predator.
I was gonna say, if we're gonna if I want to see an awesome Craven depiction, I'll just play the game because he looks pretty badass in that.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the next game. So I feel like that's where they're also losing. Where it's like, dude, the Spider-Man games are also pretty good. So like, don't let them have a really good depiction of Craven the Hunter, like a real badass Craven the Hunter, and now we have this to compare it to, of like this kind of, I mean, he's not, I won't even be like this skinny dude, but he's not skinny, but Craven Hunter should be more like a Jason Momoa size guy.
Dude, he got so big to play this role. Did you see him in here? He's got a couple of shirt off scenes in the, dude, he's big. He got a lot big. He looks good. Big, and he's more realistic the way he looks.
He looks more realistic.
Yeah, it's like
just like Tom Hardy and Venom, like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Jason Momoa could make a good Craven, but yeah, my man looks good. He He has that athletic hunter build. Yeah, dude. You kidding me? You killing me, man.
But
Like how much?
but what I'm saying, but what I'm saying, like when you see the Spider-Man 2 like intro, like the very first intro, intro of the game is Craven, and it's him like hunting another hunter, and he's towering over the guy. So it's one of those things where he's supposed to be this like towering force that you're like let Tom Holland come up again. Tom Holland looks like he might be like almost eye to eye with this dude, right? Maybe a little but like put Tom Holland in front of Jason Momoa, like you might be like, oh, this might be a fight for this super powered Spider-Man, right? This might be a tough fight because Jason Momoa is still like twice the size of Tom Holland,
I
right?
hear you. I think Aaron. I think he's got the build and he's got the look. I like so far like his depiction. I don't expect to go from comic book to to movies. I thought they were going to do it with Black Adam. I think
Oh yeah.
Dwayne Johnson playing Black Adam was a great choice. Movie was garbage.
Right.
Right. So
But that's
That was such a
because of
disappointment.
his. I read, and maybe it might be rumor, it's his ego. It's the fact is that he doesn't like to lose, and like it seems like he doesn't like to lose in fights on TV. So it's every fight he's in has to end like a stalemate at most.
Yeah, so like he wanted it to be like Black Adam would just be like a property of The Rock. Like, and they were trying to explain to him like, no, he's a character as part of this other universe. So there's
Yeah.
like stuff we want to do with him that he has to do, and The Rock wanted it to just be like, no, I'm Black Adam and I just kick ass. Every movie, every movie.
yeah, there was some just ridiculous scenes in there. That shootout scene where he's makes, gun fingers. I was like, are you kidding me? Is this really happening? Black
But
Adam is
yeah,
doing this?
but I think that's kind of my point where it's like, we don't expect them to be like exact, but it's one of those like you've had 15 years. There's almost no excuse at this point to be, I feel like, making subpar superhero stuff. Like at this point, like at most, like your superhero stuff should be like okay.
Yeah,
It
I
should
agree
not.
with
It
that.
shouldn't. It shouldn't be bad. Marvel has laid
Yeah.
the groundwork on how it's done right and how you could do it a little bit
Even
different.
Sony, the first Spider-Man, it was
Yeah.
awesome, right?
I
It was
love the
awesome.
first Spider-Man. Sam
And,
Raimi Spider-Man.
I mean,
yep, to see them
but
go
but I
back and
think
just totally
yeah.
destroy it in something like Spider-Man 3 where Peter Parker's going down the street dancing, making finger guns at people, and it's like, are you kidding me?
But that's where I'll give them because there was no plan there. There was no like idea. There was no like, oh, what's
No,
the
it's the
blueprint on make
studios. It's the studios jumping in there. Some execs, just
exactly.
putting
But
ridiculous things
they
that should never
but
be
they
in
don't
there.
have like a clear plan, so they're gonna get in shit. The same way Wonder. It's why like Wonder Woman was so. It was like, yo, you did fine.
They
Just leave
clapped
it
Wonder
alone.
Woman. That
Do it again,
that shit's crazy.
right? But what makes it frustrating is the fact is like you have seen Marvel do this for 10 years. They have done consistency, right? And then all of a sudden, and like, what are you doing, right? And I feel like, and I understand because X-Men were the same way. X-Men, X2,
Yeah.
X3, no, right? Like,
Yeah, X3 was trash.
you saw the considering thing where it was like nobody can get a good trilogy off, right? Hell, Blade couldn't do it, right? Blade 1, Blade 2, but you know what I mean?
I was so
Like
young. I
nobody,
enjoyed Blade 3, but yeah, Blade 3 was not.
yeah,
Revisiting that was not a very good movie.
like there was no blueprint. Everyone was doing their own thing.
Wesley
Marvel
Snipes also
figured it
kind of
out.
sabotaged that shit too.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
The
a
autopsy
mess.
scene gets me every time where they had to
Yeah.
CGI his eyes in.
But no, but like that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no like blueprint, right? At this point, like Blade, like Wesley Snipes was making the Blade movie, right? He was pretty much in charge of them at that point, right? So it's like there's no blueprint. There's no like, oh, this is how it's done. This is how it's done right. By the time Endgame comes around, yeah, this is how you do it right. It's solid, right? And it's the frustrating part is like, or where I'll give it to you, or where I was gonna point is like I would give Craven that chance if it was like a James Gunn situation where you're like, all right, everyone out, we're cleaning house, bringing in the new guy, you hire everyone, right? This guy has a track record, right? Like I want to give, God, I forget his name already. James Gunn, a shot, right? Right. I don't want him like. That's also I'm like I'm fine with static movie being off the books for now until I see how good this guy is, right? Until I see how good his DCEU is, right? Once we figure that out, then we're good. But yeah, so that's just some of it. Is I wanted to wrap this up. Do you have any last points you wanted to put off Endless?
Oh, nah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's ran a little bit longer than I thought it was. I had kept Pop Bot a little bit longer than I said I would keep him.
Right on.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It's been good conversation so far.
No, for sure. Pop Bot, do you have anything you want? Any last notes, thoughts there you want to throw down on it?
No, I just I think this again, just to close out, just an amazing movie. It's one of those movies that you can go and see in the movie theater 2 or 3 times because each time you're going to pick up something new. I feel like whoever was in charge of this, they were writing a letter to the comic book fans. Like there's so many Spider-Man in here that are straight from the book that, whether you are 20 years old or 65 years old, there's a Spider-Man that you can identify with and love. But also for the people who aren't Spider fans that want to see a story about, a mother, raising her child and worrying about him going on, a father trying to relate to his son and make sure he's raising him right, a son trying to become a man, a woman trying to get close to someone who she cares about, and she feels like she's made mistakes. She got her best friend killed, and now her father's alienated from her. It's like, dude, such a good story, so many beats. It's like people aren't giving this movie credit. I mean, I think everyone's giving it credit. It made more money in the first weekend than the first movie made in the first week, right? or all together, I think. But it's just such a good movie. I think we kind of get jaded sometimes when we're seeing things like these works of arts that are so amazing that we're not appreciating them for how good they are. I'm like, go see it 5 times, man. It's such a good movie. So that's all I got to say about just absolutely nerding out. It's like, you guys don't know what it is. You're not 50 yet. So it's like I get to watch the things that I read for decades come to life on the screen the way it was meant to be, or even better than I could have conceived of it. I never would have conceived of either of these movies being made the way they were made. It's just amazing. That's all I got to say. I know it's a lot.
No, I appreciate
I
it.
agree.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was a true love letter.
No, and I would say with all of that, I would say like, shout out, to those 2 white guys, Lord Miller. Those I don't know if they're the same person or not. It's like Matt Trey Parker. But shout out to the producer, like the guys that, for so much effort to be clearly put into culture. Right, it's a clear example of what I spoke to about before about how like this energy wasn't necessarily put into even Miles Morales' own game, right? And to see this effort being put into both of his movies and even more on the second one, is just absolutely amazing. And it makes sense when these are the guys that made your comment about like love letter to the comic community. These are the guys that also made a love letter to.
Yeah, what's happening, Walt Vivian?
Yeah, Phil Lord,
Right.
Christopher Miller, Dave Callahan. Yeah.
So
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go. I don't know if you were going to be heading out. I didn't know if you're going to be streaming for the rest of the night, Endless.
I'm probably gonna chill for a minute and play some Diablo. One of my friends just showed up, so
For sure. Well, I did for sure wanted to let Pop go. In Queso, if you need to go, I appreciate you moderating.
Nice to
Moderating
meet you.
Queso.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Endless. Talk to you later, Queso. Take care.
Thanks, Papa. You too.
All right, out here.
Peace.
Bye.
Yeah, Viv, I'm gonna play D4 and probably just talk while I play D4.
For sure. All right. If anything, are you going to be in one of your rooms?
Yeah. I'll be in my room.
All right. Yeah. I'll give me. I'm probably going to go get something to eat, and then I'll slide in there. And for everyone else that's listening, right? Don't think I forgot about you guys. I appreciate it. Those of you that stuck all the way through, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've been waiting literally like I want to say weeks, but I feel like the movie's only been out for like a week or so. But I've been waiting since the day the movie came out to be having this discussion. I did. It didn't work out the way I streamed. I really hope it came out right. Everything was sounding right. Queso, on your end, everything sounded right.
Everything sounded fine for me.
Nice.
All
It sounded fine to me.
You know, so all right, great. You know, so hope that means everyone heard it. And I appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to check out Endless on Twitch or twitch.com/Endless Cemetery, right?
It's twitch.tv/Endless Cemetery.
I
don't know how much
use Twitch, so there
yeah, I was gonna say I might be making that transition to YouTube soon, but for now.
Hey man, we over here. We got the raid function too, so
I feel it.
What's up?
Definitely.
All right. Thank you everyone. Have a good night.
All right, have a good night, y'all.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for having me. That was oops, let me turn my cam back on, sorry. That was TheLucidKitty, the homie of mine, and Queso, his like moderator and like producer. But yeah, now it's time to play some Deep. I'm probably play some Deep for a couple hours. Some Diablo 4. How have you been doing, Vib? It's been a minute. How you been doing? How's things been for you? Why didn't it change? There it is. Done. Take a little off of the game. I'm level, I think I want to say I'm level 36. Am I level 36 now? Also deforing. Level 79 Barb. Yeah, the season content, that's what I heard. Like, that's why I haven't really been too pressed to play. Like, I'm getting used to it just because I'm figuring out the builds. Like, I use Necro. I think I got I'm getting a pretty decent Bone Spear build going. And, like, a nice mana burn. Like, I basically can just sap creeps for mana. So, I just throw hella Bone Spears. And, I don't use my Golem. So I can get that bonus to my crit. Come on, there we go. Yeah, I just like having the skelly boys around me. Just me and my skeletons. I'll fuck with the skelly boys. But when I get up there, I'm sure. I'm using Bloodstorm and Bone Storm, or Bone Storm and Blood Mist. Yeah, the summons work, they feel obviously way different than Diablo 2. I didn't play Diablo 2 what was it? Reborn or whatever it's called. Immortal. No, not Immortal. I don't even know. Diablo 2 Resurrected, that's what it was called. Yeah, I didn't play that one. Played the original Diablo 2 way back in the day with LOD, but first, I'm pretty sure the first PC game I ever played was Diablo. The Herodrum. Stay a while and listen. Rest in peace, Sean Connery. We had the same birthday.
Not while I'm in town.
Heraldric. Yeah, I just had bullshit. I'm still like I'm basically just trying to rush to the end game. My homies have been power leveling me. I'm gonna see if any of them are on right now, actually. Oh, you want to rush me? Hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, 50-ish sounds reasonable. I've only been playing for maybe like 3 or 4 hours. My friends at like 79 and such got me up to 36. They've been really no life in it. All right. I'll drop my Discord link in chat. Yeah, we're playing Diablo. Oh wait, you're already in my Discord server. I'm in my live. Do you want me to call you? Cause if you join my server, I can just drag you from waiting into my live channel. But if you want me to call you, I can call you. Or do you have a server? I can join your server. Call you? All right. Let's see. Dang. I don't. Oh yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Yeah, I'm trying to find because I'm like trying to find your name in the server, and it's like, yeah, I absolutely don't blame you for that at all. Fuck. Yeah, I'll just send you a link to so that you can call me somehow. I barely know how to use Discord. I am a total fucking boob. Alright, there is my user ID. What up, Fade Runner? I don't know why I put that in chat, but whatever. What's up, John John? John 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 John. To turn the audio down for this, I do know that. My singing voice, I have a terrible. Um, The Endless Cemetery. You might not have. You might have left it. I leave servers all the time, so I don't blame you. I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't be upset. I leave servers all the fucking time. Oh wait, there you are. I'll invite you. Sorry. Okay, there we go. All right, sorry. I'm silly. Yo, what's up, Arun?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, we're
I
done with the
dunno, I was
spoilers.
just like fucking bored. It's too late. I should not still be awake. It's like 3 a.m. I'm just having one
Yeah,
night.
it's got to be
You know?
late where you are. I'm probably gonna be up that late playing this though, so it's okay.
It's too fucking hot. Like I can't sleep.
Oh, I can't imagine. That sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have a window unit in my room right now.
I live in the UK, as you can tell from my ridiculous accent. But we don't really have AC here.
Yeah,
Because like there's no point like 50 weeks out of the year, but there's just like 2 weeks worth of absolutely fucking unbearable heat
I can imagine.
generally. And it's like, do I want to spend a couple of grand on an AC unit just so I can live through those 2 weeks? The older
Just-
I get, the more the answer is actually yes, right? Like when I was
You can only thug it out for so long.
yeah, every year it just gets harder and harder. And like last year it hit 40 fucking degrees.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the fuck that is in Fahrenheit.
I was gonna
but
say that's a lot in freedom units. That's like almost 100 degrees, I think.
it's over 100 degrees. Yeah.
Oh damn.
40 degrees Celsius in freedom units. Fuck me. Let me see. Wait, 40 the Fahrenheit. That's 104. Yeah, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Which we are not used to that kind of heat, right?
That's like wet bulb conditions.
Yeah, it was fucking horrible.
That's
dude.
great.
I was like basically trapped in my flat at the time as well. Like I really couldn't do much. So I'm like, I've got the fan blasting in my face, like just a desk fan, and I'm like, this is only blowing hot air at me. It's doing nothing. So I'm every couple of like every 10 minutes or so, I was just going into the bathroom, getting into the shower, fully clothed, just run the cold shower.
Just freezing cold,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Then come out, sit in front of the fan. 10 to 15 minutes, I'd be dry as a bone again and just get back in the shower, do it all over again. Just did that shit all day for about a day and a half. Oh, never want it to get that hot again.
Before I got this window unit, I was looking at like different ways to like different 3D printed attachments I could make for like a fan or something, like put ice in the fan.
Hmm.
It never worked, but I know there is a way to do it.
Stick your Diablo, sorry, your Battle.net thing in the Discord DM so I can add you in game.
All right, give me a sec.
You haven't done World Tier 3 yet, have you?
No, I'm
You're
still
still
on
up
World Tier
there.
2. Yeah. What is?
Do the 2 capstone dungeons, and then I can just like run you through a couple of World Tier 4 dungeons, and that should take you up to like level 45 or something. Black Prince, huh? Okay.
It's a song.
Okay.
Because everyone
What
asked
are you
that.
saying?
I actually got I got banned for that username on Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know. I guess they saw that my character model was black, or someone reported me or something. Like I'm actually black and it's a song. They're like, nope, you got a new character, bud.
All right. And then I think you have to invite me to your world for this to work. So if you just press escape, go to social, right click on my name, invite to party. And
I'm a Diablo. I'm fucking under it. I just hit O and All the hotkeys. All the hotkeys.
Okay. I don't mind doing this because it's a good excuse for me to like at least get to level 80. Oh, you have to complete the campaign before you can do this shit. You haven't done the campaign yet.
Yeah, I'm still doing the campaign missions just because I always get sidetracked with side missions.
How far are you in? You're literally only in Scotland. Okay. I can't actually boost you.
Oh damn, that sucks.
I was happy to, but I don't think I can.
Damn, sucks. Yeah,
Is it possible for me to take you into World Tier 4? That's a question. Let me just wait. If I leave party and invite you after I've changed the world tier, if I can do that, then I can like at least boost you in level. You still have to do the other stuff yourself. But
right. Yeah. Yeah, my homies are just rushing me through my story missions. Trying to get them done.
Yeah, as soon as you've done all the story missions, you can basically just access.
Power up.
That player's not unlocked access to your current world tier. Yeah, I can't do it for you actually. Shit, I'm sorry.
That's all good.
You got to complete the campaign before you can get to world tier 3 and 4.
I'm a few hours in. Shouldn't be too bad.
You're still in Scotland, so you've probably got about another 10, 15 hours. The story campaign's pretty long. You can speed through it, but it is fairly long. I think most people are about like level 45-ish when they finish the campaign. Wow. Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That sucks. I'm sorry. I thought you'd have finished the campaign by now.
Yeah, me too. It's all good.
Fuck it. What am I gonna do now? I hate this heat. What are you talking about? You were talking about Spider-Verse or something.
Yeah, the new Spider-Man movie that came out. We were just kind of talking about how awesome it is.
I've not seen either of them. I'm terrible. I'm not a big fan of the Marvel movies. I suck.
It's all good. They're not. I mean, in fairness, they're not. Like, if you're not invested like, nostalgically with the comic books and stuff, there's really no. They're just like literally like jingoistic American propaganda. Time.
Yeah, a lot of people I know are like super into them, but I think it is like a childhood thing. Especially a lot of the black folks I know actually.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of a weird observation, but like it does seem like it's a big thing with them, especially American black folks.
Yeah, comic books and anime are super big, like amongst us here in America.
I knew about the anime. It's all fucking Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece.
And I think it's like people of color in general, because like Mexican Goku, like that shit's a lot of that shit's fire too. That shit's fucking hilarious. Oh.
I don't mind. I don't mind a bit of anime. I like anime, but
I like it.
I'm not big on the shonen. It seems like all the shows that
I'm not big on that either. Though the most anime, I don't watch as much of it as I used to as a kid. But I don't watch as much of it now as I did when I was a kid. I watched the last one I watched was Cyberpunk Edgerunners. That was pretty good. Castlevania was good.
I enjoyed the Castlevania. That's pretty decent. I was surprised at how actually. You know what I watched on Netflix recently? I watched Sanctuary, that new Japanese sumo show that's on there.
I haven't heard of that.
Full disclosure, I'm a sumo fan. I like sumo.
That's pretty cool.
So like, take my review with a pinch of salt, knowing that. But I thought the show was fucking good, actually.
Was it like a sumo anime or just a sumo show?
A sumo show, like like live action thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well,
Sounds
I
interesting.
think they got like actual sumo wrestlers in to do it as well, because like it's all very well done. Shows a pretty intimate knowledge of like the sport and everything.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer and I just thought, man, this looks fucking cheesy. So I went into it going, it's gonna be cheesy as fuck, but I'll probably enjoy it anyway because I like sumo. And I ended up like just absolutely binging through it and going, man, this is just a good show, you know.
I've read like the wiki of like kind of like the rules and culture of sumo and stuff, but I've never actually watched it or like known anybody that was super into it.
I got into it during my degree because like so I did my history degree here in the UK, and then I got a scholarship to go to Japan to do uh, excuse me, Edo period arts and culture.
Oh,
And my master's thesis was going to be, I was still working it out, but it was going to be Shinto through sumo, basically. And that's how I got into sumo through like study basically, which is weird way of getting into it, I guess. Um,
that's pretty
but
cool.
yeah, I dropped out of my masters. But I still kept the sort of like sumo fanning, I guess. Like I still watch sumo. It's the only sport I watch. I'm not really interested in sport in general.
That's interesting.
But it's fun, you know. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of bad shit about sumo for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
But it seemed like a really cool, like, the rules of it seem interesting.
yeah. I mean, at its basis level, it's like a really fucking simple sport. Like, basically, you need to get your opponent to touch the floor with anything other than the soles of their feet or step outside the ring, and you win, right? And that's like, yeah, you both charge towards each other at the beginning, and that's it, right? It's a really, really simple premise, but like it becomes a really, really complicated sport when you start like looking at techniques and the way different wrestlers operate and all that sort of stuff. And then it's just the drama and stuff as well, right? And of course, like all the ceremony and so on, because the whole, like I said, Shinto through sumo thing. Like there's a lot of ceremonial shit that goes on with sumo too. So it used to be it used to be performed at like shrines during festivals. Like that's how it got started, basically.
Really? That's interesting. I did not know that. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's like a like a reenactment of like mythical fights or whatever. It's like how it kind of got started. And then it just like develops into this whole full-blown sport, especially during like the Edo the Edo period, the Edo era.
I never
Like
knew that, I didn't know that the original Star Fox was influenced by, like, Shinto gates.
the original Star Fox 60, or what, like
On the Super Nintendo.
Star Fox Super Nintendo. Let me see that shit. Star Fox Super Nintendo.
I love that
Influenced
game.
by Torii gates. Like how? I'm confused.
Oh. I thought it was Shinto gates. That's my bad.
Oh, so well, yeah, Shinto. Like you're talking about the big, usually red structures, just like a square shape. Yeah. They're called Torii gates. Torii. Yeah, like supposed to be kind of connections to the spirit realm or whatever. Yeah, what's the connection there?
So the original Star Fox game was it wasn't like Star Fox 64 where you had missions where you're like flying in three-dimensional space and stuff. Like the original Star Fox was very much like, even in the space missions, like you're flying through, like you're like threading a needle in between, like whether it was like these like structures like buildings or something on the first level, or just like there's always that sense of flying between or underneath or like through things throughout the game and all the missions that you played.
Twin sabers. Interesting. Did not know.
It was one of my favorite games as a kid. It's probably like the first or like one of the first games I got on the Super Nintendo.
I played a shitload of Star Fox 64, I guess you guys called it.
Same, yeah.
Here in the UK, it was called Lilat Wars.
Huh.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it makes sense, but. Wild. Yeah, the first game was on the Super Nintendo.
I think my first. I never really had a Super Nintendo. My first console was a Sega Mega Drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Sega Mega. My aunt had. They had a Genesis.
I think this. Wait, the Genesis isn't the disc one, is it?
Nah, the Genesis was the cartridge one. My neighbor had a Saturn. That one was the disc one.
I think the Sega Genesis is the Mega Drive. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
So
they're
that's
both
what
the same console. It was called the Mega Drive outside North America. Apparently, it was just the Genesis in America.
Interesting. I would have guessed that.
And it's the Mega Drive.
Because I know here the disc one was called the Saturn. I don't know what that would have been called internationally.
Yeah, Sega Saturn. It was the same over here. Weird. I don't know why they keep changing the names depending on region. Like especially different Anglophone regions, right? Like I don't think we would have given a fuck whether it was called the Genesis or the Mega Drive. I don't think it would have made any difference whatsoever. I don't know why Americans needed it to be changed to the Genesis. Like it makes no sense to me. But,
it's too many words. We needed just one. You know, Americans don't have the attention span for that.
Yeah, but it's 3 syllables. I'm not sure most Americans can cope with 3 syllables.
It's the schools, you know what I mean? They're not very good because you gotta dodge bullets half the time.
Fair enough. I mean, the school shootings weren't as much of a problem back then.
They weren't when I was a kid, no. I remember when Columbine... So, I actually live in... Like, I was one of the schools that closed when the DC sniper shit was happening. I remember my mom was freaking out pretty heavy about that. But,
are you up in DC, are you?
I'm in Maryland, yeah. But, yeah, it wasn't like that when I was a kid. Genesis because of the good old Bible, brother. The American Bible.
I mean, it didn't save them from the moral panic, did it? Like,
whole
video games and violence, moral panic.
The video game the video game I'm best at is the game that is the reason why there's a rating system for.
Fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I have Mortal Kombat shorts on right now.
And Night Trap was the other one, I think. Night Trap was the other one that was like.
It was like I think that was on the Genesis. No, it was on the Saturn or something. I can't remember.
No, that was on the Genesis. That was on the Genesis. Yeah.
Or the Mega Drive. I'm sorry.
Sure, whatever you want to call it.
The Oibruv version of it.
Oh dear. Yeah, they don't do enough of those like interactive movie games anymore. There's a few of them around, but
there's a couple of them. There's one that we started playing that was really interesting. It has Lance Henriksen in it. I love Lance Henriksen, so I was really interested in it. It's called The Quarry, and it's kind of like the game. What's that game?
It's the horror game, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like summer camp or something.
Yep. It's got David. Shit. Oh man, I can't remember his name. But it's got Ted Raimi in it too. It was really cool. I just fanboyed because Lance Henriksen was in it.
I think I had it on my wish list for a while, and then I saw some gameplay of it, and I was like, these characters are very uncanny valley. Like,
yeah,
their eyes don't go in the right places, their mouths move in weird ways, and like everything looks very realistic, but the characters like yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure the technology is there yet for what they were trying to do.
It makes
Um,
sense. I haven't played it through yet. I played through like the beginning where I saw just like the actors and they looked really, so I thought it would be
yeah.
cool.
I mean, other than that, like it has really good reviews, like gameplay wise. So
Right on.
I don't think you've like made a horrible purchase or anything, but it was enough to make me go, I don't want to spend $50 on it, you know?
Right, it
Like,
makes sense.
like if I get the opportunity to play it for less later on down the
If it
line,
hits
I
like a
probably
summer
will.
sale or something. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
probably will
But,
soon too. Hit the
but I
old
took it
G2A or
off the
something.
Steam wish. Took it off the Steam wish list. I'm uh, I'm still waiting for Nightingale. I want Nightingale to come out. That looks like fun.
I want Ghost Runner 2. That's probably the. I'm waiting for
Ghost Runner
Armored
2.
Core 6, Ghost Runner 2, and Mortal Kombat 1.
I'm not sure I can fit another game in at the moment, to be fair though, because I still play World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah, that's.
You know.
Sheesh. I had to stop. I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic again, and I had to stop because I was like, I will play nothing else if I play this game.
Well, I don't. So I have to dedicate a few hours a week to World of Warcraft because I have to like keep up with the rest of my guild because I'm in like a mythic tier raiding guild.
Ah,
So like, yeah. So you know, you got responsibility to your team, right? Like,
right.
some people are like, oh, you shouldn't play a video game if it feels like work or whatever, and I generally agree with that. But like, it doesn't always feel like work. There's just a couple of things that I have to do during the week that I'm like, you know. But that's a team sport, right? Like, and that's basically what it is. You got 20 people get together to do a raid. It's like, well, you got to put your best foot forward. Make sure you're not dragging other people down or whatever.
Pulling your weight for your DPS or your buffs or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's honestly
exactly.
what I like about MMOs.
Yeah, I love working together with other people to do stuff. Like the raiding is what I live for. I've never been a big PvP person at all.
I like both. Ah,
I can't
I'm
be an
because
MMO.
it's just the mix of games I played when I was a kid on the PC. The first three games I played were Diablo, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and Unreal Tournament. So like, really enjoy first-person shooters, but I also really enjoy action RPGs and just like MMORPGs and just like fun stuff like random like RTSs and stuff too.
Um, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good selection of first games for sure. Yeah, I can get behind that. I just had what was it? I think my first video games were Sonic the Hedgehog and like Tetris on the old Game Boy. I might be ever so slightly older than you, possibly.
Probably, maybe a little bit.
I'm 34 now.
I turned 34 in 2 months,
All right, yeah. So
so we're the
we're
same
like
age pretty
months
much.
apart. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but my first video games were on. I think the first game I actually played was like Duck Hunt on the Nintendo,
Okay.
and then for my fourth birthday, my parents got me a Super Nintendo with Super Mario Brothers and Street Fighter 2.
Hmm.
So played. I want to get six. I just haven't had the time, the money to get it and commit to learning a character on it yet.
Do you remember playing a lot of Street Fighter on the SNES around one of my friends' houses? That was probably my biggest experience with the Super Nintendo when I was younger.
Yeah, playing that was always like an event whenever we had friends over or whatever. It was like the go-to game.
Still remember that like chunky music as well.
I'm trying
Super
to
electronic.
reproduce the Blanca music. I already did the Power Rangers because I played Power Rangers on Super Nintendo. It was one of my favorite games. I did the character select music from that game. I'm not finished with it just yet. It doesn't feel like it's finished, but that game in Perfect Dark, I did the combat simulator music from Perfect Dark. I redid with like actual drums, and I still have to add guitar to it, but I like got the synths and stuff ready for it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So
Those-
what? Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that that era of video games has the best music, like the Mega Drive music and stuff. But what were you gonna say?
They put a lot of effort into those MIDI files, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna completely like switch topic. I was gonna say, like, what the fuck are you doing? Where the fuck have you been? I mean, I don't engage a huge amount with the Twitch poll
Oh
scene
yeah,
anymore,
me
but,
neither.
like, I haven't seen you around at all.
Yeah, I just been kind of minding my own business. I quit streaming for a little while because some dumb shit happened. But yeah,
I'm sure now I get like every once in a while I'll see something pop up. It's like, oh man, MF Endless is a fucking racist or some shit. And I'm just like,
always, yeah. I'm anti-race mixing. That's the most recent.
yeah, shit, that was the thing I saw.
Yeah,
Anti-race mixing. Yeah.
it's
Are you anti-race mixing, buddy?
I am absolutely anti-race mixing. I think that you should keep your sprints and your long-term 401ks and stuff separated. It's like, nah, I'm not. It comes from a conversation I had with another streamer that people just, FD signifiers going through the same thing where like you say very like uncontroversial things about just like racial politics and like racial dynamics in America, and people get like really offended by that shit for some reason, or as a way to like discredit
Just
you.
like,
They just construe it as, instead of you talking about something you're observing, they flip it as, oh nah, this is something that you support or something. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you the motivation for it, but
but it's just something like something like black folks typically like decide to date inside their race because there's just like better understanding there, something like that.
yeah, that, and just like the original tweet was about like melanin or some shit like that. Just like melanin, like basically light skinned black people. And it wasn't, I feel like the way it was construed in the general conversation was just about just like light skinned black people in general. But the picture was of Pat Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes, and it's like, if
I
you
have no idea who the fuck that is.
yeah, they're like absurdly like MVP players in both of their respective sports, like two different sports, like very one of one people in the world. And it's like these people definitely don't represent the average, and part of the understanding of racial politics in America is that race is more or less equal to class, where that kind of determines what your class will probably be in life, especially in places like Baltimore. So like, if you exist in a certain class and part of the status quo is the erasure of our history and the suppression of our history, and like people regularly try to pass for white for survival, like that like is kind of was the goal of white supremacy, like to how they described it would work in the future in the past when they were writing all of this shit down. And it's like, when you say that, people think that you're saying like black people and white people should not ever like have romantic relationships, have kids, or whatever. And that's like obviously not the case. Like, that's really fucking silly shit. But like, the reason why older black people of the older generation get really upset by that, which they probably shouldn't, and a lot of younger people don't anymore, which is whatever. But like, the reason why people get upset by that is because like that's the kind of shit that people got killed behind, and like I don't think that's really appreciated. So yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. It's just like people that like don't understand or don't really have any skin in the game, just kind of deciding what the rhetoric sounds like. They're like, I've heard white people talk about.
I don't think that's even a fucking good excuse. Like, I'm fucking Man, I fucking hate doing those kinds of lines because it makes me sound like I'm just trying to go, oh, I'm one of the good ones or whatever.
Right, yeah,
But,
right,
like,
right.
but I'm saying I don't think there's like a huge excuse because like I'm British, I'm white as shit. I mean, I have like some Asian ancestry, but you wouldn't fucking know it to look at me. So for all intents and purposes, I'm white as fuck, right? Um, I don't like I don't have like these are people who like live in relatively close proximity to American black people, right? So I don't see how they can have like less understanding than me
Well,
sometimes.
a lot of them don't though, just because of how segregated shit is, and people don't really have any self awareness about it. Where they're like, I don't really live in proximity to a whole lot of black people. When I go to the city, I probably think it's like a high crime area or whatever. So I like roll my windows up, lock my doors, all this stuff. But like, yeah, they have their like because they exist in a certain class too. They're only going to encounter a certain kind of black person.
I think
So
it's a class thing for sure.
that would be like if I had to guess, I wouldn't stand on that, but like if I'm just spitballing and like firing from the hip now, I feel
I
like it's
mean, I think that class distinction definitely exists here in the UK as well.
yeah, for
So
sure,
like
no doubt.
black people tend to be of a lower class, right? Um, or however you say that in a less offensive way. I don't
Yeah,
fucking know.
stickiness to
Um,
the ends, I think is what
yeah, yeah.
the
Um,
actual academic term for it or whatever is.
but I'm right there on the fucking bottom rung, right, class wise. I'm not. Uh, I was fucking homeless, like street homeless at 16. Like I spent a significant portion of my early life, like literally just sleeping on the streets, like getting myself arrested to fucking not die during the winter, kind of street homeless, you know. Um, but like I've still lived in an incredibly white bubble. Like I'm trying to think. I don't think I know a single like black person outside of the internet, right?
Right.
Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I got like one healthcare worker that I know. She's from Zimbabwe or whatever, but like I wouldn't really call us friends or anything, right?
Right,
So
right.
like I don't have a single black friend IRL, and that's not like obviously not like an individual choice or whatever. It's just
How things
yeah,
are set up, yeah.
we do feel kind of segregated. Yeah. Um.
That can become like more extreme and for sure in this country depending on what state you're in. Like like me, my background and how I grew up, the difference there's two different Baltimores. There's Baltimore County and Baltimore City. And in both of those areas, especially when it comes to police, like Baltimore City is something like 64% black in terms of its like general population, but the police are like 73% white, something like that. And it's even
mm,
more out in the county. And there's just so much different like history here in America that I'm sure is very similar in that part of the world as well. But um it's it's just weird here because they built the whole system directly based on it. You know what I mean? On what you look like.
No, I mean we did too, to a certain extent.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
We didn't have straight up Jim Crow, but we might as well have done. You know, it was sort of
For sure.
implemented through policy rather than just a blanket law, but
Right, right.
they had the same kind of shit. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's fucking weird though, because like as soon as you get online, like like two of my best friends online are black. Um, you know, I know people from all over the world, and like we just hang out and chill, and it's
It's the
great.
magic of the internet.
Yeah, like I don't understand. I don't understand why the offline world like gets so fucking segregated when like at least quite a lot of us seem to get on really, really fucking well online. Just like be like normal fucking people, you know?
Right.
and and the race and like race doesn't seem to be like a particularly huge issue, at least among the groups that I hang out online,
Yeah, no
obviously.
doubt. I feel like it's because all of us, like the groups that we encounter, we all kind of I mean, we also wear our politics on our sleeve too, and like part of the things that we say we believe are understanding like queer politics and racial politics and all these different things that
Yeah.
make us have parallel experiences and why we should have solidarity with one another.
Yeah, we just end up. I guess we just end up running in a lot of the same spaces when you. Yeah, especially when you're sort of political like that. But yeah, no. And I guess it would probably be the same IRL, if I was uh, involved in activism in an area that had like a higher black population.
Yeah, for
But like,
sure.
we
Like you'd
have-
probably have lots of black friends. Like if you lived in Baltimore, we would probably be really good friends.
hey, that's nice. I like thinking that. Um, but where I am, like, we got a small population of Caribbean folk.
Oh yeah, for sure. Amanda.
And that's about it, really. Not even like Jamaican, just like
It's from the island.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yes.
just from the islands and stuff. I haven't heard anybody speaking Jamaican patois because I I grew up hearing far too many people who weren't black speaking Jamaican patois. So like I'd recognize it if I heard it,
Right on.
I don't hear that. I hear I don't even know what it would be. Yeah, just like Creoles and shit,
Oh, right on.
I hear that.
Makes
Um,
sense.
Uh, but yeah, no, and it's not a huge population, and they're sort of all centered around basically one fucking road and like a couple of roads that lead off of it, like in the city in which I live,
Right
and
on.
that's about that. And then we have like a significant Chinese population because of the university here. We have some Indian and Bangladeshi, but there isn't a huge amount of like mixing, which
Yeah. There's kind of like in the same class there is, but like because just because of how the infrastructure is, there isn't like great mass transit and that kind of stuff here, so people just don't end up not even like romantically or in the sense like race mixing like har, but like literally like they just don't physically encounter each other throughout the course of their day to day because people
you
are
just go to different clubs, different fucking whatever you're doing in your day, you're just
right.
going different places.
Yeah. And people actively fight that shit here. Like there's our last governor, like the federal government was going to give us like almost like $250 million, I think, to build this red line here that would move from like west to east just because there is no really adequate transit that moves that way in the state or in the city to the county or whatever. There's just the light rail which moves north to south and only in a specific area. And like the governor killed it. He was like, nah, and gave them their money back. And
Jesus.
our governor now is this black dude, Wes Moore, who's like he's a Democrat, so he's talking about doing it as like part of one of the things he wants to do now that he's in office. And people are having, of course, your normal, very enlightened takes about it on the social media where they're talking about how they don't want to have transit directly with the high crime areas or the criminals are going to come out and like the property values are going to go down, all this stuff, like just like
fuck your property value, motherfucker.
right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's
I always laugh at the property value shit because I'm like, give me a fucking property so I can start caring about that.
right, exactly. So I just want to be able to go to fucking work and not have to drive 30 minutes every day.
Yeah. No, that fucking sucks. Yeah. Our cities are a lot smaller unless you live in like one of the major cities, like London or Manchester or whatever. Like the city I live in, you'd probably just call a town, frankly. Like it's not that big. You got like the main area, the like council estates on the on the outskirts of it, and that's and then it's just surrounded by countryside, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah, Baltimore's a pretty big city.
Yeah, no, Baltimore's fucking huge. America's just fucking huge.
It's a
compared
big
to
country.
where I live. That was one of the that was one of the biggest shocks to me when I went over to Japan. Was just like, so Sapporo, just the closest city to the university that I was in. That's like quite a large city. But obviously I had to like land in Tokyo, and then I got the Shinkansen, like the bullet train, up to Hokkaido. And fucking Tokyo is just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just insanely huge. It's enormous. Like it's like nothing I've ever fucking seen before. It's just this sprawling metropolis that goes on for like 100 miles or more, you know? And
That stuff's hard to imagine. Like, I kind of fantasize about that stuff as a kid, like the whole cyberpunk dystopia vibe.
holy motherfucking 2000. Okay, I had to Google. I was googling it because I was like, how big is Tokyo actually? 2,194 square kilometers. What the fuck?
That's a big city.
It's a motherfucking big city. For like for scale purposes, New York is 1,000
Yeah,
1,213 kilometers.
I knew it
Or
was.
actually only 783 that is actually land.
I knew it
So
was
yeah,
bigger than New York. I just didn't know how much bigger. That's
yeah, it's
a
like
lot.
2 and a bit times as big by land mass, and just under 2 times as big by total area, because obviously New York's got quite a lot of water in it,
Water, yeah.
which doesn't, which I don't think should count. Okay, that's
Water.
all
We
right.
almost say water the same. I say water.
5.2 thousand square miles. Jesus fucking Christ. So, okay, so what I said, right. So the Tokyo, that's the like the inner city area is 2.2 thousand kilometers square. The metropolitan area, which is like the greater Tokyo area, I think they call it as well, is 13,500 square kilometers. Motherfucker.
Sheesh. Sheesh. I can't even, like. I'm definitely gonna
Yeah.
be on VR, Google Earthing that.
Yeah, you should Google Earth that shit. Tokyo, yeah, Tokyo. Okay, they've even got this comparison. Wait, I'll put it in chat for you as well. This is the country I live in. Okay, uh, the Greater Tokyo area is basically like, I don't know, must be what, like a quarter of my country's size. Yeah, that's insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, that is a lot. That's a whole lot of city.
Hey. That's a big fucking city. Fuck me. 36 million people.
I think that's like the population of my state.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, New York's 20 million people. So. 36 million fucking people. But like, so many people have moved out from the rural areas to urban areas in Japan. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, the cities they just keep growing and growing and growing. Makes me sad. I like it out in the country.
I like a kind of suburban environment. I like a touch of city with like a touch of. I like green space, but I also like like futuristic architecture. I don't know. I'm a solar punk.
Where I'm at's not too bad. Like 20-minute walk into the city, 20-minute walk out into the country, basically.
Actually, sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it's yeah. Except I live like, on the edge of a council estate. Like I am on the council estate, like I'm in council housing. So it's like I even know what it's not as run down as some areas in America get. But it's like, I mean, it's basically where people go who can't afford rent and can't afford a house, right? So, so you can imagine it gets pretty rough sometimes.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's not my jam anymore. I want to move, but I still can't afford it.
Yeah,
I need,
I'm
I need to be less disabled. That's what I need.
Pride Empire. Thank you for the raid.
A Pride Empire.
Seems
Good name.
chill. Thank you for the raid. I'm in the cemetery. I talk about mostly American American stuff. Sometimes I meme. Most of the time I just talk about abolition. But yeah. I'm just playing Diablo 4. Talking to the homie Viv. Hello, thank you.
We love abolition. Oh yeah.
Abolition is the
I mean,
move.
okay. I came in to play Diablo, but I guess we're not doing that. So if you want me to fuck off at any time, you let me know.
Nah,
I'm just bored and can't sleep, so I'm
I
happy
feel
to
you.
sit here and
I
chill.
would just
as
be
long as you
sitting
like.
here in silence playing Diablo, so I'm more than happy to just chill and talk about stuff too.
So I don't want to intrude. So
You were
I'm
not
just making
intruding at all.
it clear. I ain't gonna be offended if you tell me to
We're
fuck
just
off.
hanging out. I think Arun, I missed Arun's thing. I think he wanted to jump in, but I'm not sure if he's still here. But
Oh shit.
thank you. Welcome, Raiders.
I had a thing on abolition not so long ago. Actually, I think I did one of those fucking WIC panels.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Hey, I do them occasionally. I don't know. I find them entertaining.
I
Since I
feel
took
it.
my break, since I took my break from Twitch, like I I've come back on it with a new perspective where I'm like, I'm not gonna do any panels or debates that I don't find either interesting or entertaining, right?
Makes
Like I'm
sense.
not gonna go in there and argue against a bunch of people that I fucking hate and like destroy my mental health dealing with some of the most fucking abhorrent people on the internet, right? Like
Right.
I just can't be fucked with it anymore.
Yeah.
But every now and again, I'll hop in. Wick will invite me. I'll be like, "What's the fucking topic? Is it something that I give a fuck about? Is it something that I find interesting? Who am I going to be talking to? Are they people that like I just can't be bothered with?"
Right.
You know, and
That's
and
fair.
providing all the things line up, like I'll go and chat for a bit.
That's
But
fair, I
yeah,
guess.
I had a thing on abolition not so long ago, and oh geez. What do you think about like the popular mainstream messaging of abolition? Because when you say abolition to a lot of people, and you know what Wick's like, right?
Right,
Fucking
of
dipshit,
course.
centrist fuckhead, right? Who
Naturally.
just like can't get past the most basic interpretations of things.
Right.
You say abolition to him, it's like he's like, all right, but you're gonna need like somebody to deal with like
Of
violent
course.
criminals and stuff, and won't you
Mhm.
just call those people police? And it's like you're missing the fucking point.
Exactly.
Um, but that is the popular mainstream understanding of the abolition movement, especially when it comes to police. Is just like, oh,
Right.
so you just want like this lawless society or whatever with no kind of structure or anything. Like, how do you? Because all I can do is say something along the lines of abolition is a uh, abolition is a multifaceted project that
Right.
aims to supplant the current systems, but everybody's just like eyes are fucking glazed over at that point,
Right.
right? It's just like,
I,
tell me what you're going to do when there's no police, right?
what my theory of what I want to try, which I don't know, I mean, who knows if it'll work? Because the other thing is, at least in America, the police are part of a whole like system, and their support for police definitely does not come from a liberal misunderstanding of abolition. I'll put it that way. But so in terms of at least of like the liberals or like the maybe the people who might be winnable, I feel like framing it in a way that's close to something else that they might already support. So say for example like Medicare for all, which is like here in America and across the board kind of like no-brainer policy that anyone, like most people in their right mind at least, are in support of, except for the most like dyed in the wool, head in the sand Republicans. Like even a significant amount of Republicans support Medicare for all, even if you don't like, if maybe not if you call it that, but like if you just present what those ideas are to them, they'll support it. And that's
you would argue that, like, sorry to interrupt, you would argue that Medicare for all is a kind of abolitionist policy.
Right, because you would be breaking up this insurance policy bullshit that is the reason why, like, it would almost be like saying if you say you want Medicare for all and you're like, well, you don't want there to be doctors, like, that shit makes no fucking sense. Obviously, there are going to have to be specific people to facilitate a certain role. It's just the system that doesn't benefit you would be removed from that, and it would be something that actually benefits everyone at that point. And it would also be part of a larger system of like treating, for example, just like treating drug addiction as an illness and like legalizing drugs and like all these other things that are also part of the same conversation you have to have if you want to have the Medicare for all conversation. You venture in very quickly, very easily into the territory of, you know, police abolition. But at least that's for the liberals.
So that's all like a really easy kind of like a basic overview of like the abolitionist movement and like some goals.
Right.
But I feel like as soon as you get into a conversation with any of these fucking dickheads and you use the word abolition, it's like when I try and talk about anarchism.
I was just about to say that. It's the A word. Arun and I talk about that all the time.
I don't use that fucking word with normies, right?
Right.
Like I don't say, hey, I'm an anarchist. Here's my anarchist manifesto. Right.
Right.
I say shit like, I don't know, like, what do you do for work, right? Oh, you work in a retail store. Okay, you got your manager there. What does your manager do? Like, what do you need them for?
Right.
So you get to this, you know when you're supposed to get to the store, you know how to cash out the tills, you know how to stock the shelves, like you coordinate with each other to like get shit done in this little retail store that you do. Like, what does your fucking manager do? Right? Like that's how I like talk to people about these kinds of things, because it's
the most relatable. Like it's how you're supposed to actually talk to these people.
I fucking hate the theory bro shit. like yeah. Theory is good, right?
It's cool if you're already like invested.
Yeah, but you can't just like bust up on somebody and be like, okay, like, hey, I'm an abolitionist. I need you to read this book by R.M.A. Carver, Angela Davis, whatever, right? Like,
right.
It's like
police abolition. I basically just tell people, like, I just give them like real world examples from where I live of like, oh my god, I just got clapped again. Of like the gun trace task force and the police, and they're now the DAT squads, where it's like their role is literally just to terrorize poor black people. They exist for no other purpose. The federal government investigated them and found that that was what their express intent was when they created these squads of the police. And like, I don't know, it's hard. Like, it's really hard to tell people like all of the worst shit that you think will happen if the police disappear is shit that the police themselves do every day.
So here's what, yeah, okay. Let me try something with you, right? Because like, I think I had a somewhat difficult time responding to this in a way that I thought would just go down well with the general audience, right? So one of the other people on the panel with me was Counterpoints. You know the dude?
Oh, the cop, yeah.
Connor.
Fuck that
yeah,
guy.
Right. Like the quote unquote reasonable conservative of Twitch, right?
Oh god.
It's like, you know what? Credit where credit's due. He is at least not as unhinged as Rob Nor. Okay, but like
that's a pretty low bar.
It's an extremely low bar, but we're on Twitch. The bar is pretty fucking low for conservative.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. It could be
So-
CTV.
So here's what he said. Here's basically what he said to me, right? Because he's an ex-cop, right? And he said to me that he agrees that there's some significant issues with the police. That like a lot of police are just out there looking to shake people down, get their arrest numbers up, just generally harass members of the community. And he says that kind of policing is fucking garbage and people shouldn't be doing it. And then he describes what he does, right? And he says, basically what I would do is I would take this one block where I know that there's been a lot of like shootings or whatever recently, and I would just patrol that all night. I would just drive around in a fucking circle so that people knew I was there, and I would very rarely have to get out of my car and actually like intervene and stop anything, because simply knowing that there's a police car in the area means that like people are less likely to do burglaries, shootings, whatever. And by simply having my presence there, I believe that I made that little part of the neighborhood a safer place. Like, what do you say to him?
As a former professional criminal, rest assured the police presence has no influence on the desire to commit crimes. Just maybe the radius of the where those crimes are committed, but also the reason why that is because of desperation. People don't commit crimes for fun. Like, people are not. And I was actually having this conversation yesterday with a bunch of other streamers. Shout out to Paradigm Shift and Pyro Tyrant and LucidKitty. But like, people don't live in poverty and do gang shit for fun. Like, they do that kind of shit because they're desperate. And if you just patrol an area and you don't address the desperation, you don't address the reason why the federal government, when they investigated the Baltimore Police Department, they stated that the reason why these conditions exist is because of the wealth disparity between the people who lived in those areas, which coincides with the history of those areas being black areas and where the freedmen forced to live, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the stuff we already know about the history of racism and segregation in America. This is the reason why these conditions exist. And if you're just going to patrol an area and shuffle that crime off to another area so that the people in that specific area don't have to see it, that is like kind of the definition of gentrification. Like, how are you doing anything other than just reinforcing the the gap between the wealthy and the poor by just forcing people to move into other areas and do whatever they were going to do, whatever, in another area? Like,
I think he would argue, he would say to you that like he was patrolling like a poor black area, right?
Right.
Like, he's not patrolling like a white neighborhood to keep the black folks out. He's like,
of course,
patrolling one small poor black area. So
the vibe remains. If you just are, if these people are poor, they're probably doing something illegal. So what are you doing other than just like terrorizing these people constantly 24/7 so that if they have to commit crime to survive, then you're just adding an extra step for them. Like, they're not going to just not commit crimes anymore, because if you have to steal to eat, you're going to steal to eat. You're not going to be like, oh shucks, Officer Jim is making his rounds again, I guess I'm just going to sit in my fucking living room and starve with my kids.
yeah, no, you just go somewhere else. I can tell you that from personal experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a drug war fucking veteran. It's been over a decade, but yeah.
I'm not. I'm lucky not to be a drug war veteran, but yeah, no, being street homeless, like shoplifting food all the time.
I mean,
Yeah,
same
if
energy.
you see a cop around, you just go to a different store, right?
Same energy. And there's vagrancy laws and that kind of stuff. It's that lifestyle of like why we exist as like anarchists, as like abolitionists or whatever, is like, if there's any reason, then they will make a legitimate reason for a specific sort of people to just do literally whatever, to just snatch you off the fucking street, kill you, sexually assault you, throw you in jail, rob you, like whatever. You're subject to whatever.
Mm-hmm. man. Let's go proper serious all of a sudden. What happened to Super Nintendo? I'm sorry, I took it down the political route. That was my fault.
It's all good. I do this all the time on this channel anyway. Because I was actually just about to say, like, that's also part of what's funny to me about the whole leave the children alone shit with drag shows here in America is because, like, the SROs are, like, the amount of sexual assault and, like, pedophilia amongst the fucking SROs is absolutely fucking insane.
Sorry, SROs?
Oh, sorry. We have this thing because of all the fucking school shootings. They actually started instating them after Columbine. School
Special
resource officers.
resource
Yeah.
officers or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep,
The
yep.
school
Yeah.
cop. Yeah, okay. I got you. I just didn't know the acronym.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they're the school resource officers that their one job is to make sure your kids are safe and they're fucking your kids. And because of how the police and the FOP and shit is set up, they just go to another county or whatever after they get fired. What up, Fat?
That shit's fucked up.
Goddamn.
I mean,
This boss is fucking busting my cheeks.
I held a Twitter space yesterday. It was a good one. I really enjoyed it. It was the first
Nice.
time I've ever done a Twitter space. Wait, was it yesterday?
It seems
think it was
pretty
yesterday.
cool. I've seen, shout out to Zeron. I've seen that person, Zeron Live, or I'm not sure what the is, but Zero holds really huge Twitter spaces and stuff all the time.
This is the first time I've done it, but like, I mean, it was larger than I expected. I was speaking to another like anarchisty trans person here in the UK about the shit that's going down over here, but like
Right.
because of my time on Twitch, there's like a few people who decided to join the space who are like Canadian and American, right? So it wasn't like full on British, and we were making comparisons between what's going on in the US and the UK. And I think the similarities on that shit are just so fucking striking because it's a pan national movement, you know.
Right.
Like for the right it is, and we need to find out a way to make it so for the left. The problem is that we're just drastically under resourced compared to these organizations like Turning Point, right? Turning Point have been fucking around in the UK recently, spreading that whole kids identifying as cats at school shit, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. So like that's the current news cycle here in the UK. And it's like this is the same fucking organization doing the same shit in the UK as it does in the US. And I know that because I'm like keyed into the US politics and shit, right? But
Right.
like most British people just do not know that, right? They don't know who
course.
the fuck Turning Point UK are. They don't know where they came from, what they, you know, they don't know who the fuck Charlie Kirk is, because they know British shit, right?
Of course.
And
Yeah.
that's fair enough. But that's what I'm talking about, like the left.
That manufactured consent.
Yeah. But we need to work out a way to do better at that kind of shit. Because the same organization's doing the same shit in the US and the UK. It's one of the things I was like super pissed about actually early on in my whole Twitch thing. Was with all the white leftists that would like talk about trans issues in the United States, like, and would not say anything about trans issues in the UK.
Right.
And at the time, I would say trans issues in the UK were at a much more critical point, right?
Of
Like things have
course.
obviously heated up a lot in the United States over the last couple of years, right? And in some states in the US, I would say it's worse than the UK now.
I would say
but 4
just
years ago, that wasn't the case.
I would say just really quick though that like depending on what class you're in, it was already you know, you would know like you were homeless and shit. Like depending on what class you're in, that shit was already like it was always there. It's just now it's becoming like it's reaching a point where they're like codifying it into law and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean though, right? Like they were doing that shit already in the UK like 4 years ago, right? And I still have this massive fucking chip on my shoulder. I don't know if I'm ever going to get rid of it. That like all that time that I was speaking out on behalf, on behalf of or in support of like people in the United States and their issues. There was like none of that back the other fucking way, you know. Maybe
Right.
I'm expecting too much. Maybe we're just a shitty little backwater island. But like,
Oh no,
I feel
trust
like
me. If you ask,
Americans are very parochial.
I was gonna say, if you ask any of the black trans women on Twitter, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They picked their specific ones, and they just have a. I wouldn't say they felt like fuck the rest, but like there's definitely a major blind spot for a lot of people, where politics in America and to a certain extent Canada is also hyper focused on.
But you can't deal with it without the fucking. I feel like nobody's learned shit from Crenshaw, right? I feel like
Absolutely
the
not.
left throws around this fucking word intersectionality all the fucking time
It's
and has
kind of
absolutely no
infuriating.
idea what it fucking means. You know?
Yeah. It's kind of infuriating, but like I don't know. This is why like I'm like failing as a streamer is because like I just instantly block these people. I don't even entertain conversation with them. It's the same thing with the word colorism, right? Where people are like, you're being colorist to me because I'm too light skinned, and it's like, okay, you're getting blocked now.
But we gotta focus on those fucking intersections because they're the thing that fucking unites us, right?
Right.
That's what like we're just better as a larger movement. I want to be co-opting anybody
But
else's fucking struggle, but like
but
like
see, no, but here's the thing though, is
you
like
know,
we understand this, and like people in chat and shit, like because we exist, like we're people who've been in jail, been homeless, been fucking robbed by police and shit. And it's that type of shit that gives you that like common experience, even if it's for different reasons and et cetera, et cetera, et
yeah.
cetera. But like if you know, you know. And a lot of people who consume this content, I've said before that I feel like a lot of people who first of all, a lot of people who consume the content are apolitical, but the reason for that is because they've never really had any real shit like that happen to them. They're like
there's
people,
no passion in it for them. It's all an
yeah,
intellectual
it's just
exercise.
entertainment. And don't get me wrong, like we're all entertainers here to a certain extent. Like that's what our job is on this platform. But like, so like
That's what killed me, dude. That's what killed
yeah,
me doing the Prime panels. That's why I had to take so much fucking time off because I realized that I was a person who gave a fuck, who was trying to make arguments towards make arguments against people who just didn't give a fuck, right?
right,
That like for them it's all 100% fucking entertainment, you know?
yeah.
And
That's what hurt me, like to watch sometimes because I'm just like, yo, I'm not trying to watch my homies get fucking called slurs like transphobic slurs or fucking just had really transphobic shit said or to or about them for like 2 hours because we're having another debate on fucking like xenogenders or something or like just
yeah,
any
fuck
type of
bullshit.
yeah, just like any of these weird ass conversations and like debate panels and shit that I've seen were like, nah, I don't want that for my people. I want us to stay in our own lane, and I feel like we're way more valuable when we're better able to share because there is something to be said in terms of the entertainment value. If you have a certain type of debonair to you, a certain type of pizzazz, and you can come on the panels and say witty shit and and do all that, there's something to be said for that. But like I feel like there's maybe
I think I managed that. I think I managed
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's fair. But I feel like there's also
all
just
that happens with me is I just get the crowd mad because I'm just sitting there going, "Well, hey man, this is all fucking bullshit." Like,
right.
you know?
There's definitely something cathartic about that too. One of my favorite games is Make the White People Mad, clearly. And I'm winning.
Fuck it. Oh, dude, I'm so fucking with you on that. Actually, make the fucking cis people mad. That's my.
Yeah, that's fucking yeah, hell yeah.
There is something really fucking make the cis people, make the non-anarchists, make them
Make the
all very, very
heteros.
fucking angry. But you know what I think. Maybe I'm just like justifying this shit to myself. Maybe I just enjoy pissing them off, right? But like, So there's this idea in Twitch, right, that you've given like in the Twitch debate sphere, that if you haven't convinced some people to come over to your side, you've had a bad performance, right?
Right.
And my response to that is always like, I'm not here. I'm not here to convince these fucking people. I'm I'm not gonna totally convince these people. The chances of me peeling off a couple of moderates here and there are fucking slim to none anyway, right? Like, I'm not interested in that shit. What I want to do is I want to give voice to the anger, the indignation, the righteous fucking fury of people like me, who don't get to hear that represented, right? And to further radicalize and motivate those people who already agree with me. Like, that's what my rhetoric's for, and that pisses people off no end, because they're like, you should be trying to convince me, and I'm like, the fucking ego to think that I'm here for you. I'm not
Fuck
here
yeah.
for you. I'm here for the people I give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about you. Like, but
Oh yeah, that's
so
fucking
that's
cool.
basically how I operate now, and it's like it's such a weight off my fucking shoulders, dude. Like, don't try and convince these fucking people.
It's gotta be way more fun too.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean, right? Like, am I just trying to justify me having more fun with it?
Oh nah, yeah, I would.
It's entirely
That shit's
possible.
probably a blast. Oh no, I have to stop myself from doing it all the time.
Oh, bro. But yeah, and then every once in a while it just gets to the point where you've got so many fucking people mad at you that you're just like, well, okay, I guess I'll take a bit of time out, let you all calm down. I'll come back in a couple of months when I can get a word in edgeways without you losing your shit and turning purple every time I open my mouth.
I'm addicted to the salt. That's why my Twitter is everything that it is. I am addicted to the salt. I'll be waking up early as shit trying to make people salty, trying to make people mad. Up at like the ass crack of dawn. Being like, yo, Ashley Babbitt deserved it.
Fucking hell, dude. I said when she died, I was like, man, this fucking sucks in a way.
That's when I knew it was gonna get
Because
scary, honestly.
Sorry?
So that's kind of when I knew it was gonna get scary.
What, when Ashley Babbitt died?
That,
Man,
like,
I was saying that shit from like months before, and it's not a crazy take, right? Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm some kind of fucking Nostradamus, some visionary prophet, right? But like, like I was saying for months and months and months before that, like, the most dangerous period, the period in which there's most likely to be violence, is in between the election and the inauguration.
oh right, yeah. And they were also saying they were gonna do that shit. Like, they sold hoodies and t-shirts and shit.
I'm like saying this shit on Twitch. I'm like, I think there's a good chance of, like, you know, OKC level shit, right, could go down during that period. At the very least, it's gonna get violent.
Right.
And I was being told that I'm being hyperbolic, I'm doomsaying, all this shit. And I get that all the fucking time. Like, I'm not. Yeah, like I say, that's not some hot take. That's not me saying I'm like big brained or anything. Like, this
You don't have to
seems
convince me.
too
You're like
obvious.
one of 3 other people I know that know about 09A, so you definitely don't have to convince me.
Okay. Nobody should know about 09A. Honestly,
Yeah, right.
I feel I try my best to even, like, not even talk about them that much, because it just ain't worth it. I don't think it's we got a thing in, like, cult research. I think everybody discusses the concept, and I think it was Marc-Andre Argentino. He, like, coined the whole pastel QAnon thing. He came up with the phrase "the normie tipping point." I think it was him.
There was a guy that I worked with that was the other forklift trainer there that had a fucking "where we would go one, we go all" tattoo.
Oh, jeez. But yeah. So he came up with the phrase "the normie tipping point." I think it was him anyway. But the idea of the normie tipping point is about, I guess, for him, journalistic responsibility, right? But, like, as a cult researcher, at what point do you take your research and go public with it? Like write an article about it, go on somebody's podcast and talk about it or whatever. Because as soon as you start talking about it in public, there's a chance that that's going to like get picked up, that a lot of people are going to hear about it and so on, and that can drive more interest and more people towards whatever cult you're talking about, right? More people, more resources, and also that kind of scrutiny can accelerate things, right? So like you know how Jonestown went down, right? Jim Jones is like getting increasingly paranoid and shit, and then there's the US investigation into Jonestown, and like tensions get higher and higher, and ultimately Jim Jones decides to fucking murder everybody in the compound.
Right.
So like when you go public about this shit can have a direct effect on what's going on. And the normie tipping point describes the point at which enough people already know about the cult that you releasing the information that you have about it does more good than harm, right? That like people know about it, but you're promoting actual understanding of it rather than just going, hey, I found this weird freaky group, and you're just presenting a kind of freak show to people, which can then drive more engagement and stuff with the cult, right?
True.
And in the case of, this is why I bring it up. Sorry, I'm rambling like a motherfucker, but I hope it's at least interesting.
Makes sense.
In the case of 098, I don't think they're at that point. I don't think they'll ever be at that point. I think they're so esoteric in their belief structure, so fucking off the wall in the insane shit that they do, that they can't actually attract enough people to be big enough to warrant the discussion, at least in the broader public sphere. Certainly not in the mainstream media, right? Maybe amongst more obscure like cult researcher type people. Obviously this is something that we need to talk about because like there's been attempts at bombings, you know, like little kids are getting fucking molested and raped, and like some little kids are trying to blow up train stations, but like in the broader sphere, like it's not worth driving that kind of attention and engagement towards them. Yeah, anyway. Sorry.
I get you.
Pyro Tyrants in chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We got Bake, we got Pyro, we got Bellamy.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Shut up, Molly.
Some good people.
Lots of good news in chat.
Yeah.
Fade Runner.
I love Pyro. Pyro's my
Fade, you wanna play Hunt? Pyro's dope. We talked yesterday.
Oh yeah. Damn, Hunt Showdown?
Yeah.
I haven't played that in fucking ages. I'm bad at it.
Oh man, I love it.
I'm very bad at it.
The Bayou Boys, we go to the Bayou and I go PP man. It's just become a thing now. But a singer in my band, is one of my good friends. His son was like 4 years old. And we were like just like hanging out. He's like, "Can you say Kevin's name?" And he just goes, "Kevin PP," like just trying to be edgy because he's just likes being bad when he's around his dad. But shit was bad. So I'm just like, there's Chief Keef in one of his songs references Poo Poo Man because Poo Poo Man's like one of the dudes that like kills people. That he just like, I'm gonna call Poo Poo Man. So I'm just like, I'm the PP man now. I creep up on people in the swamp and they call me the PP man. So I kill people. It's a whole long, yeah.
Sounds dumb, but fun.
It's very dumb. It's very, very dumb. It's quite dumb, but it's funny. It's one of the chat inside jokes when I'm playing Hunt.
That's okay.
Whenever you shoot someone in the head, it's just like, instead of the boogie man, it's the PP man.
Okay. I'm doing good, Pyro. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good too. Yeah. What do you think about it? So, oh shit. Just going back to what I was saying before. What do you think about Andrew Tate, right? But do you think Andrew Tate would be as big as he is if it wasn't for the media attention on him?
Oh, absolutely not. But
Yeah.
I think part of that was the like how his what his like whole pyramid scheme was with the TikTok thing, where he would have people like Noah share a meal on TikTok, and now it's his followers just kind of propagated each other. It was like a word of mouth thing.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of these social media platforms got so much to fucking answer for as well.
Yeah.
Like they need, if you're gonna run something like that, I feel like you need dedicated teams who are knowledgeable in like cultism, extremism, etc.,
Right.
to be able to pick up on these things when they're sort of like getting started and just fucking ban anything to do with it. Just fucking kick them out. Call me authoritarian if you like, but like that's the only you got to fucking nip this shit in the bud, you know?
Right.
Um,
Facts. Yes, the Spider-Verse spoilers are done. There are no more Spider-Verse spoilers.
yeah, I haven't even fucking seen the movie, so.
Except for when Kylo Ren kills Han Solo.
Dude, why do you do this to me? I'm not even gonna bother watching it now. Fucking ruined it for me. Asshole.
I actually did like spoil Star Wars, like when the first movie, when that was supposed to be the big thing in the first movie, like before the movie. I don't even know how I found out about it, because I still to this day don't think I've seen that movie. But like, I posted a Facebook status, so like, yeah, so you know, Kylo Ren kills Han Solo in the new Star Wars, right? And yeah, people were mad as fuck at me. One of my good friends, like blocked me for a long time. It's like, I've been waiting for this movie for like 20 fucking years, and you ruined it for me.
Oh, hey, there's a good topic. Spoilers as political action. What do you reckon? Like, you remember when Hogwarts was coming out and everybody was like,
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
What do you reckon? What's your opinion? Do you think it's just spite based, or do you think it actually does anything?
I don't. I mean, I don't know if it does anything. I just know that shit's fucking hilarious. I mean,
You can play it, but I'm gonna ruin it for you a little.
yeah, I'm not playing that shit, so it's funny as hell to me. But I think maybe it does. I think yeah, maybe people, because it's like, why did you do this? People are immediately angry and they want to know why, and they're like, nah, because this shit's goofy. But that shit was always like when the books were getting spoiled, when they were like, motherfuckers like Dumbledore dies on page whatever. I thought that shit was hilarious. Hilarious.
Was that even political at that point? I feel like that was just people trolling.
Yeah, I was just a troll. I like, even before we even like JK joined Team Turf, like before she even, I think this might have even been before the existence of Twitter itself. Just like, it was like the 4th or 5th book, or like the 5th or 6th book or whatever. Motherfuckers, there was that, and the night that Modern Warfare 2 came out, I don't even know, motherfuckers would do this shit just to be, this is like, and another thing you have to understand is like, we have this thing as black people called the dozens. I don't really know how else to explain it, but just like,
called the what? Sorry?
The dozens.
Dozens.
I don't know. It's just a thing. The black people in the chat, you know, if you know, you know, but just like the spirit of hate is just, I respect it, because it was just so strong, because these motherfuckers were such haters. They were hating so hard. They figured out how the game like ended the night that it came out, and we're driving around GameStops from GameStop to GameStop the night of the midnight release of Modern Warfare 2, yelling Modern Warfare 2 spoilers into the GameStop, while people were like paying for the game, getting it in their hands and shit, and like walking out with the game. I was mad as shit because the game got spoiled for me, but it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
The respect of pettiness and hatiness. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am also a scholar of petty. I am a disciple of hate. I am a hater.
You want to be a petty bitch? All right.
That's why I
can
can't do panels and stuff, because I just start making fun of people, and
I can
it's-
get down with being a petty bitch. I've definitely had my petty bitch moments, for sure. Why? Hey, can you? Oh, damn, it's your stream. I don't wanna impose. Can you bring Pyro in here though?
yeah.
Like,
Do you want to?
are you okay with
We can go on my. We can jump in my
I haven't talked to Pyro in fucking ages. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
go to your server.
Yeah. He's waiting in there.
Oh god, now I've got to find that fucking shit again, man.
I'm gonna invite
Endless-
you. I'll shoot you the invite real quick.
No, it's all right. I got it. I found your server.
Oh, you got it?
He's in the waiting room.
All right. I'll jump in and drag y'all in. Anybody else wants to jump in? We got the Pyro Tyrant. We got Viv Wolf.
Oh,
Thank you. You wanna hop in here?
Back. I'm back, bitches. What's up, Viv? How you been? It's been a minute. It has been a minute.
that's why I said, do you mind if I talk to you? Because, it's been fucking. You guys stopped hanging out in Kirsty's server or whatever, so
Oh, I'm gonna be real. I did the best thing for like my mental health and all everything. Like with all this political shit going down, with the trans genocide, with everything going on with black people, I did the executive decision and I said, you know what? I'm gonna just stop hanging around all these weird people because there's something honestly weird about peddling in misery and politics just for the sake of it, trying to make friends. Like, I'll make friends over Doctor Who and fucking Warhammer. I don't need to be making friends over, well, you see, the Americans have bombed Sri Lanka again, and now see that's why it's been like, no, that's just fucking LARP. So I stepped away.
I like playing fuck, what was the fucking gun game I was playing with people? I forget now. Fucking
Hunt Showdown.
No, it was like fuck.
There
It
was
like
a
some
couple we
Counter-Strike
were.
shit.
Bellamy,
But
if you're a Dio class hater, I'm a Vegeta level
Rainbow
hater.
Six. That's what I was fucking playing. Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
Rainbow
Playing
Six,
that.
hell yeah.
Katie. Yeah, I was playing that with Kirsty and
Yeah.
can't remember.
It does suck that like a lot of the decent people that actually enjoy like you and a few others, like, I'm not gonna knock y'all for enjoying those type of spaces, but like for me it's like I just can't, like, it just gets on my nerves, and I realize I become this person in my real life where like my own family is like, wow, you're political, but they say it in the cadence that means, damn nigga, stop being annoying.
Right.
And it's like, bro, like, what am I sacrificing that shit for? Like, a bunch of niggas that disappear once I exit out of Discord? Like, no, thank you, bro. Like, no,
I mean,
thank
we don't have to disappear once you kind of just. One of my friends I met on Discord is like sleeping on my couch right now.
Nice.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, for real. Like I've met people on Discord that I consider family now. Yeah.
I've met a few people off of Discord, but again, it's just one of those things with like, I'm about to drop names.
Yeah,
so,
I see that.
I
One of my-
apologize, endless. But like,
fucking-
do I really want to meet Counterpoints? Do I really want to meet Prime? Like, do I really want to meet any of these motherfuckers?
I know these fucking people, but like,
But,
I
like,
don't
you know
know.
what I mean?
I don't
Like,
know.
I met Paradigm.
maybe
Paradigm was cool
Pyro.
as fuck. We chopped it up. He bought me dinner.
Nice. Yeah. What
Yeah,
about me,
Paradigm's lit.
Pyro?
I would
See,
kick it.
like-
I would go to Oibrov land and kick it with Viv. You wouldn't kick it with Viv?
See, the problem is, like, I would love to kick it with Viv, but then I'd have to go to, like, Cockney land, right? Like, I'd have to, like, I'd have to go to a country with an unironic fucking king. And not just any country with a king, the country with the king. Like, if you say the king, there's only one. You say the queen, you all know what bitch pops into your head. This bitch live in a country with the king. Get the fuck out of here.
You
Like,
could be referring to the King of Sweden. I don't know.
Does Sweden actually have a king still? Because that'd be fucking hilarious.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think so. But yeah,
That's
I
wild.
guess that kind of proves your point, though.
I'm about
Right?
to die. Yo, thank you for the follow. I'm finna die. Damn.
I don't want a fucking king, dude. Like, I'm not like super happy about the situation either.
Listen, that's why I like you, Viv. That's why we get along, because like we can both shit on your horrible monarchy together, and then we can turn around and shit on my decrepit, old ass nepotistic Congress. Like we
Yeah.
vibe, we
Well, I
vibe.
mean, you can shit on the
They don't
king,
even be
like,
doing shit. For
me, I
real.
have I have certain laws that I have to abide by. Otherwise,
Bro, are there unironic laws telling you can't call ye old king a cocksucker?
I'm pretty sure I
can't.
can call the king a cocksucker.
Oh,
But there's some stuff that you could say that I wouldn't be able to say. Yeah, which is fucking crazy.
can't say shit like Lizzie's in a box. People get
Lizzie's
mad.
in a box.
In a box. Granted, it's a fancy box.
It's a fancy
It's a pretty
box.
fucking fancy box, and people queued up for miles and like 3 days to see it too.
It's a
Bro,
wild
I'm just
ass
gonna
box.
be real.
You know what I realized about that though?
What?
You know what I realized about that is how fucking insane that is. Because, so all these people in the queue, right? They've all got like an app on their phone, right? That's like telling them their number, like what number they are in the queue,
That's
how much
wild.
longer they have to wait and shit. No, that ain't even the wild shit, right? But they're still queuing. Why?
He's still queuing.
Why are they still queuing? They've got a fucking app on their phone telling them how many people are in front of them, how long
Well,
they've
I'll
got to
tell
wait.
you what, I'll show
why can't
respect
they-
from our
Why can't they
queen.
just go? Why can't they just go to like a nearby hotel or something, or go to a restaurant and get dinner?
Cause I'll tell you what, Viv, cause she stayed on that throne for damn near 70 years. I can stand in a queue for 70 hours, mate, okay? Okay?
At least we can go to school without worrying about getting shot.
Well, at least our schools ain't like a Call of Duty video game where kids
all
get
right.
shot in school with
Oh,
guns.
It's middle of the night. You're gonna fucking wake everybody up in my house. I swear to God. Like, just fucking endless getting right into the mic there. Jesus.
Bro,
Christ,
I'm sorry, Viv. I'm sorry. Just recognize listen, never in America will you see like niggas playing the band for like Joe Biden and unironically passing out of heat stroke. Like
That
that's
was
just not gonna
wild. Nah, but
It
people
happened
did
so many times.
People would have did that for Trump. People would have did that shit for Trump.
No, they
They
wouldn't.
would do that shit.
No,
for
they
Trump.
wouldn't. See,
Yeah,
there's
died.
a hold up.
What are you talking about? People have died waiting outside Trump rallies.
There's a difference between we're just willing to let people die, and like the institution of the presidency of Lord Trumpship is so important that you can't even take your health into account. Motherfuckers will choose to die for Trump. But damn, it's expected that if you're playing a trombone for the king, you're just going to faint. You don't get out of that.
The Royal Guard and shit.
Yeah, like the motherfucker. We don't have a royal guard. Like a fucking Secret Service, you let your guy know you're about to faint, and they replace you quickly and silently.
We have some insane shit. Let me just finish what I was saying about the
Go
Q.
ahead.
I want to tell
The
you
Finnoids are the most absurd Nordic people, by the way. By far and away, it's the Finnoids.
So they didn't need to have a queue. Like our government could have just said, like, we're just going to use this like electronic queuing system, right? You get a message 15 minutes before half an hour or whatever before it's your turn to go in and look at the casket, and then you can just roll up and do it. We didn't have to have a miles long queue, but they needed the fucking queue. They needed the queue for the fucking propaganda. They needed to have the visual thing of people queuing for fucking miles and queuing for days, so that they could put it in the fucking newspapers to go, hey, look how much everybody cares about the fucking queen.
They gave people off work for that shit, though.
Everybody could have been safe and happy and not had to stand out there in the fucking scorching heat.
I know I said it as a joke, but I unironically think there's just at least a small part of the population that she sat on the throne for like 60 years. I can stand in this queue for 60 hours, and that's how they do it. Like it's some sign of devotion to the queen. Like you're right. I could just pop into a McDonald's and wait my fucking turn and like chill. But like,
Oh
is
yeah,
it
if
the
Trump
same
was dead,
sign of
if Trump was dead, they wouldn't have did that shit. I feel like.
no, but like it's like for the queen, it's like, is it the same sign of devotion of just like chilling in your house, maybe hanging out before going to see the queen, versus
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
not-
stood my spot in
it wasn't
line.
even an option, right? Like if you leave the queue, like you lose your spot in the queue.
Bro, wait.
I'm
So
just saying-
what's the point in all the fucking apps?
I'm just saying they had the technology quite clearly to mean that people didn't have to stand in the queue, right? It's like it's not like it was a necessary way to organize things. It's just how shit was organized because they wanted to look like that in the media, you know?
Oh, bro, you just talking about normal Britbonger shit. Like we could adopt technology for this one procession, but no, because King William Cheshire had it this way, and so must the Queen, and it's just bullshit. I thought you meant like, oh no, we offered people like, this Q shit,
No.
but like,
It wasn't like people chose to fucking. It's just like we have the technology. It's very easy. We could have just done this. Like I'm pretty sure there were apps for like queue times and stuff as well. But like,
well, I'm gonna tell you right now, like,
yeah.
y'all had the funniest shit during her funeral, cause like it was America, but times 12 when it comes to just like the decadence of the rich. Cause like Endless
Hell
will
yeah,
tell you,
yeah.
we have different states, but
This
like
bitch rolls around
pothole.
in a fucking gold carriage, dude.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's like watching her funeral.
Mm.
Like me and Ellis can tell you, potholes in like impoverished
Oh, that
areas.
shit was
Like, yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
bro, these
Baltimore's
motherfuckers.
roads, there's no way. Yeah.
Yeah, but like these motherfuckers in England, this bitch died. They filled in the potholes with like sand and shit, and it's like, bruh. In America, we just get normal capitalism, and your roads will degrade. These niggas will unironically fix the road so it can last exactly one day, so the horse can ride by with the dead bitch's body in it. Like that is some funny shit.
So
That
hey,
shit is
you want to know about the magic mace?
Oh god, yes, the magic mace.
You want to know about the magic mace?
The magic
So
mace.
we got several ceremonial maces, okay, here in the United Kingdom.
To beat the colonization into our subjects.
So you need to have the mace in the house for them to start their official meetings to like.
Of course,
vote
where
or
else
pass
do you
laws
keep the
or anything like that.
weapon in case of a slave rebellion? Duh, you keep the mace in the house. Got you.
Man, I guess this thing could like bash some people's heads in, but it's like not made to do that. It's just ceremonial.
Sure, that's what they tell you. That's what they tell you in the modern age when we have guns and bombs. Like, no, this old gold stick that's really firm, it's not made to bash people's heads in. And then it was. And then it totally was. I'm memeing so hard. Let me stop.
We have one for the House of Commons. We have another one for the House of Lords. I'm pretty sure like the New Zealand Parliament has a ceremonial mace too because they're part of the Commonwealth, right? Whatever. But yeah, so the Parliament can't meet or pass laws to do that shit. Without the mace being on the table. There's like a special guy who comes into Parliament and like carries the mace. Like he has a special costume. I think his name's Black something. I don't know. It might be fucking weirdly racist. I'd have to look into that.
So you're telling me you're telling me in the most civilized country on the planet, in our legislative body, you can only talk when Sir Black Legendman hands you the royal
Black
talking
Legend.
stick. Like,
Well,
bro,
it's not about that. They don't hand it around like a talking stick, but it does have to just be on the table in the middle of the
it
room.
has to be in front
Yeah.
of your party's house for you to speak. But
I mean,
only
if it's-
Lord the Blacksmith can touch it, otherwise you get the icky bum bums and we have to burn you at the stake like a witch.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I
Yeah,
love your country. It's like a storybook.
it's so fucking insane.
I
So
might see
during
what's
the
up
whole-
with it. I might go out there.
during the whole Brexit debate, like, a guy like walked up, picked up the mace, and like started running off with it, basically.
Bro, tell me
Because-
I would do that. Was he American?
No, he was a British MP, and like when I first heard about it, I was like, man, that's fucking based. But it turns out he's not doing it because he thinks the mace is fucking stupid, right? He's doing it because he's like against the way that the government is organizing to try and pass some laws around Brexit, basically.
Well,
Like,
you
so
see,
he's like, he's
if they
like,
don't have
if
the
I
stick,
take,
they can't talk.
if I take the mace, you can't do this. Like,
It's quite
because of
literally the
power of
talking
mace.
stick fit. It's like quite literally the talking. If you don't have the talking stick, then you can't pass legislation.
Yeah. I mean, it was basically that. Yeah, he's like, I've got the talking stick now, and runs off. You know,
I've
like
got the
that's
stick
the
now,
level it
so
is.
Brexit's cancelled.
Our fucking parliamentary system. Like, don't get me wrong. I believe a parliament is better than a republic. Okay.
Yeah, it's just that your parliament isn't.
But our parliament is fucking insane. Like,
I could say the same about America. I think, like, a republic or whatever the fuck we have is like pretty decent, but it's just not. I don't think ours is pretty decent. Like,
Nah, our shit's pretty goofy. I'm not gonna hold you.
yeah, our shit's pretty
I just
goofy.
don't think there should be. I just don't think there should be an executive. That's my. Like, yeah. I think everybody in the legislature should hold equal power. I don't think anybody should be able to veto shit. You know, like, fuck the president is what I'm saying. Like, get rid of the presidents. But I can't talk because we're like a constitutional monarchy, right?
Yeah,
In
you have a
addition to
king.
being a parliament. In
You
addition
have
to
a
having
king.
a parliament. Yeah.
I feel like until y'all get rid of that or just make it like
we're
a purely
we're a constitutional monarchy without any kind of written constitution. Like, our constitution is like a whole bunch of what do they call them when you make when something's happened in court before and the judge has made a decision on it, and then
based on precedent.
Precedent, that's it. Thank you. Fucking hell, it was on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't. Yeah. So our constitution is essentially made up of like legal precedent rather than like a written document, which is fucking stupid.
I love
It's
the
so
fact
dumb.
that your country decided that instead of getting rid of its monarchy, it's going to put a paper hat on the monarchy and call it a constitution. But even then, the paper hat's imaginary. It's just
Yeah,
made up on like the agreements that
you-
niggas made in the past. I love it.
So for America, right? Like, basically anybody can just like pick up the Constitution and read it. Whereas like over here, you need a whole team of constitutional lawyers to tell you whether or not something is constitutional or unconstitutional, right? Like, because
Well, you see, you don't want the common pleb to be able to read the laws. It's for us higher people. It's for us intelligentsia. Now, let us decorate an old person in $17,000 worth of gold for the day.
Francoids are the worst.
Yo, don't mention the French in here. We just don't do that.
They were
The only
almost
reason the
as
French no, they're not almost as bad. They're worse. The only reason the French don't have a fucking king anymore is because them niggas are dumb.
What are you talking about? They deposed their king. That was one of the few base things that they did.
No. Let's not act like, oh wow, they deposed their king. Cause like, yeah, sure, but then like they immediately ran into the thing that everyone like looks at leftists and like, what about the reign of terror? Like, nah, I'm not giving that to them. Y'all immediately did the one thing.
Make no apologies, Tyrant. Make no apologies.
Make no apologies.
No.
Yeah. When it's our turn, we will make no apologies for the terror, right?
Listen, I'm not gonna make apologies for it. I'm just gonna say, bro, like that's a long fucking time for a reign of terror, my nigga. Like 6 months, wrap it up. Like you killed the king. Come on, like it's time winter's coming. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
We also deposed our king, and we fucking cut his head off. All right.
Yeah, but didn't y'all like puss out of? Yeah, you know what? You're right. Y'all did puss out of that. Y'all did like, oh god, we can't run without a king and a man in a big shiny throne. Quick, get his brother.
Essentially, that's how it ended up being. Yeah.
Quick, ask his brother to come back. We'll give him a bigger paycheck.
That was because Oliver Cromwell and the parliamentarians were such fucking tyrants afterwards. You know, like it really kind of blows. Like they almost did it, but they fucked it up by being idiots. Kind of like the French did in the French Revolution too. Like they almost had it. Like they got rid of the bad thing, and then they were just like, well, okay, now we're going to be the bad thing. Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Can I say something then? Listen, I know you about to like fucking clown on me.
Clown on his
I'm,
ass, man. If it's dumb.
I'm glad I live in America because y'all weird ass European racism. Not only is it like 10 times weirder, that shit just go way harder for no reason. No
The
fucking
Italian people are
reason, bro.
wild.
Bro, I'm
there's
not
a
even
really-
thinking of them. It's just like you bring up fucking the Roma, and it's like those goddamn, and it's like, but
Yeah.
and then they're like, they have so much fucking bullshit excuses. Like, bro, at some point in America, they're just gonna call me the Negro and walk off. Like, I don't like you because you're black. Like, it's not that hard. Like, for Europeans, it's like, what happened back in 1030-06 that made you hate all fucking like people of West Lebanon? Like, what the fuck? Y'all motherfuckers
Oh yeah, but
are
you
really fucking weird with that shit.
you motherfuckers don't have any history in America. That's the thing. Your fucking country didn't even exist until like the mid 1700s.
Right.
Late 1700s, 1776, motherfucker. Like, you just, there is no.
You know what?
Like,
No, you
America
know
is
what? We
not
kept it.
a
Listen,
country.
listen. If I'm gonna debate the merits of American racism, we kept our shit consistent. Damn it, okay? White skin, white. Others are other. That's just the way it's been. Y'all motherfuckers, on the other hand, y'all can't decide what y'all want to press on. Well, it's because you're poor. Well, actually, it's because you're from West Bumbleshire. Well, actually, it's because you're German. Actually,
West
because you're
Bumbleshire.
not like shut the. It's actually because you're actually from this one part of Sweden we don't
Oh, yeah,
like.
'cause
It's a little bit close to Russia.
you guys have never been racist to the fucking Irish or like Jewish people.
Right.
Okay, where do you think we got it from?
Where do I think an American literally fucking like invented the idea that Irish people weren't white? Come on.
Yeah,
man.
what type of person do you think like bred that idea? Do you think it
we
was
knew
the
they
bubble?
weren't- We knew they weren't white already. There was an American who like codified it.
See, there it is. We knew they weren't white, but it was Americans. It was Americans who wrote it down.
Look, we just shut up about it and genocided them. Okay, you're the ones that wanted to make a big deal about it.
We saw the problem and we dealt with it. You had to go and write about it.
Like, that's what you're saying to me. Got you. Got you. We were so stupid we had to pontificate our racism.
Well,
Oh,
I do
God.
say, Cletus,
But that's
what
how-
do you think on the theory of the Negro?
That's
Like,
how weird our racism is too. Like motherfuckers were trying to come up with potions to turn black people white.
Oh yeah, like in all seriousness, our shit goes. It's just like like we can't let it go.
Motherfuckers were
Like,
trying
yo,
to come up with the straight
Potions to
potions.
turn people white.
Like in all seriousness, like not comparing race. Europeans move with the time to oppress new people. Americans are just really, really stuck on like, no, we really want to make potions to get rid of black people.
I saw this
Potions.
fucking laser. I saw this fucking laser shit the other day. I saw a video of it. I'm not sure
Oh,
if
that
it's real.
shit's wild. I
But,
think
like,
that
the
was a
laser shit,
tattoo
but, like-
removal. I want to say that was a tattoo removal, but that shit looked wild.
No. It was just like making some dude's dark skin like a lighter shade by
Yeah.
like going over it with this laser.
On his
thing.
fist? Yeah.
Yeah, was that real?
I thought that was a tattoo removal.
I'm pretty sure that's a tattoo removal.
I could be wrong. I don't know what the fuck. That could be fake too, but I thought that shit was a tattoo removal. Damn.
It's the Biden pen. It's just
The
got-
Biden. That's how they remove your blackness if you didn't know who to vote for in
Yeah,
2019.
you
Bro,
ain't black.
nah, what do you mean 29? That's gonna happen in 2024. It's gonna be the real election. Like,
listen, I said it once, I say it again. You don't vote for me. You ain't black, Jack.
You know that
shit's
one time
so-
the Nazi makes like the based comic, right? Like you've seen the fucking comic
Yes.
where Biden's like, you ain't black, and just like puts his
sucks
hand
it
on
out
her
like
and
a fucking
sucks it out,
dementor.
and she's just like left on the floor like crying and white, right? Like that is probably the most based Nazi comic I've ever seen. he didn't even do it deliberately. He's just trying to do some anti-Biden propaganda. But
Right.
like that shit was fucking. Actually,
I really
It was
do.
amazing.
I really do gotta give it to Biden. He really took our fucking stereotype away from us. Of like making all these promises and then like, yo, I gotta go get some milk. I'll be back in 4 years to run again. See you later. Like, God, I have never seen, and maybe this is just my youth speaking, I have never seen a president promise so much and just not do shit.
Here's a fucking thing for me, right? So
Even Trump gave the Republicans something to chew on. What did Biden get? Damn. Like, just damn.
serious question, because you guys are fucking degenerate yankoids, right? I want to know, like, so a lot of my American trans friends and stuff are still very, very like hell bent on like we have to vote Biden because we have to keep out Trump and DeSantis and shit, right? And I'm like kind of floating, okay? Because I look at what's happened during Biden's presidency, and all I see is this massive wave of like anti-trans legislation and shit. And I'm like, this is happening under Biden's presidency. How is voting him into office again gonna prevent things getting worse?
Oh, I'll tell you how, and it's really stupid. It's really stupid. Because in the way that you mean, it doesn't. It doesn't prevent what's happening from getting worse from continuing. All it does is what these people are really happy with is it happening very, very slowly. So yeah, while Biden's president again, it may sway some of the local elections on some of the local offices and shit. And you may see more of a pittance of a fight against like some of the anti-trans legislation. But then comes the next election, and then like, you know, if you get a Republican, then it's going on in full swing. Problem is like we've already started there, and it's like people are looking at like the politics and the president, in my opinion, as like the magic solve all wand. Like if we elect Biden, then it's for sale gonna stop. When in reality, it's like
it's gotta be local.
yeah,
Right, exactly.
It's gotta be local. It's gotta be like the fucking media's gotta be updated. It's like you just gotta reinforce that. Like yeah, no.
From what I can tell, right, from what's actually fucking going on in the United States right now, like if it's local, it doesn't fucking matter who's president. Like if Trump's president and like, you know, 90% of states are like majority Democrat, then like he's not going to be able to implement like half the like it would just be a better situation for trans people in the US overall, right? Than Biden being president and all the Republican legislatures now.
More or less.
Well, it depends on how. Like again, it depends on like how.
What can he do federally?
How it's actually going to be is like you can't really do shit federally. It's going to be how a lot of the shit's going, unfortunately, where there's going to have to be like migrations of people from states where you get killed to states that are like, all right, we'll let you cook here for a minute.
Well, like, that's what I mean. No, but like that's what I mean when I say like it's gonna depend on how fast, because we can talk about like on the ground level, but that does not ignore the fact that like the state level is the most important here. Federally, it's gonna be hard for the president to like wave the wand because these states are gonna fight back no matter what. These states that are already doing the legislation, the moment any Democrat president tries to sign into law like actual civil rights or tries to force that through in an executive way us leftists would love, like it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and then it's like, okay, good luck with that. It's another institution of the United States. Like, good luck with that one. Like, and I seriously mean it. Good luck.
Fucked anyway right now. Like...
Yeah, that's the problem with vote blue no matter who, because those people fail to realize that in doing that for like the last 20-30 fucking years, like some of the shit that niggas, specifically niggas, have been, you know, screaming about for the last 60 years, it's already in the works, and there's not really a fun way to stop it. Like, we can vote for Biden, but what happens when this motherfucker dies in office and then the next election comes around and then the Democratic Party has like less support because we had a president die in office? We are having senators and shit in power who are in charge of like, you know, the safety of trans people who are actually literal senile. Looking at you, Dianne Feinstein, it's like,
Dianne Feinstein's like 98 fucking years old. That shit is crazy.
She's senile. How are we supposed to guarantee the rights for people if the people in power can't even remember that they're supposed to be in power? And then on the Republican side, it's like, yeah, they're cartoonishly fucking evil Nazis who want to kill all black people, trans people, and we know what they want. So this is the infuriating part of marginalized people and actual leftists. It's like, what the actual fuck is going to happen in not just 4 years, but like 8 years? Because like them Republicans, they got a DeSantis, and motherfuckers think he's good. Like they're not gonna quit. Hate don't quit.
We double back on two things. We double back on COVID and we double back on climate change. Like,
yep.
They just said fuck it.
I just don't know. I don't know what I should be doing when I see my American friends going, we really got to vote Biden, we really got to keep out Trump. Because don't get me wrong, like, you know, I know. Like,
you know what I tell my friends, my trans friends, when like they tell me about like some of the shit they live in, like, and it is the honest to God truth, and I know it hurts, and I know it's defeatist. Y'all niggas need to fucking run. Y'all niggas need to fucking run. There's a reason black people did this shit like twice in American history. 3 times. Yeah, like 3 times. Yeah, it's because like if you stay there, they will find legalized ways to kill you. It's why when Florida announced that,
it don't even have to be legal. The police will just be in on it.
Oh, bruh, like I say legal because like you know how this shit works. Like they're not just gonna do it. They're not gonna do it like the old days where they just get the rope and they get their tree and the police just get off in the trial. They're taking the steps to legalize it. When they talk about we're gonna synonymize LGBTQ shit with pedophilia and call them all pedophiles, and then we're gonna legalize the death penalty for pedophiles. Yeah. Well, what does that tell you? Who do you think they're going to be targeting now that they've branded an entire group of people as pedophiles? Because like it's no fucking brainer. It's a no-brainer. You stay in these states, you are going to die. Like I'm sorry, and that's not even hyperbole. Like
that shit ain't safe. That shit sucks.
It sucks.
That shit wild.
I've been thinking that shit about here in the UK as well. I can't leave. There's no way for me to leave, but like, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
It's different. There's a lot of people we ain't gonna do it the same way that the Americans will do it. Obviously, we're not gonna reinstate the death penalty. Although there's some fucking conservatives that are arguing that we should. But yeah.
Y'all just make it an offense to the king.
That shit is crazy.
Like
yeah. I'm real glad we don't have the death penalty. I don't think there's a huge appetite for it right now. I couldn't tell you what we'll be like in 3 years, though. Who knows? Fucking shit's just moving so fast, dude.
It's moving very fast.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now, we are in a position, right? You know how we talk about like leftist violence and all that shit right now? When it comes to the state of trans people, right now, it is my opinion that we are in a position where that shit, like any form of leftish shit like that, just can't happen because the pushback is gonna be on our trans brothers and sisters. If something happens, if there's some leftist who's like, yeah, I'm gonna like take out Cop City, or we're gonna take down this deforestation league, be Captain Planet, like they're just gonna be like,
that's like never been the goal though, right? So it's like.
That's never been the goal, but like Vivian said, like I'm not Vivian, but you said like we've given up on like climate change and COVID. You know what happens when things get worse. Like there was a fucking forest fire in Canada, and like half of New York State was out here looking like goddamn Mad Max or like fucking some apocalypse movie. Like as these type of things continue, and like the rate of our slow ass genocide, because you know how America loves to do it, nice and slow, so you're already used to it, like. The more people try and like rise up against the government, I have a really real fear that like, yeah, these motherfuckers are just gonna capitalize on that shit.
That's why that's why shit like Cop City exists. That's why stuff like Dat Squads here in America, in Baltimore exists, is because they gotta be able to just shake people down at any time or have giant fucking forts. You know what I mean? The model has always been the same for colonization.
See, that's the thing. I don't think you need to look at it as like that colonization. It's like a more of a like they got the land, like they're not extending the borders. It's about it's the suppression, like the building of the police state over the last fucking 40
enforcing
50 years.
The law.
And now we have like the really wild rhetoric shifts over like the last 10, like first 2014, gay people are cool and we're being a bit more accepting and wow, look how and now it's like we're back to like hating trans and it's like, oof, you know, the gays are damn near on the list, if not already on in some places. So it's like the rhetoric shift is becoming more unstable, but the only thing that is our ability to crack down and make sure that the only violence in America is the violence that's allowed. And we already know which side the police lean on. So it's like, for me, I'm terrified because realistically, like, there's not going to be the Superman or America to come in and save us. Like, ugh.
I can't say what I really want to say right now, but I can't say what I really want to say, but all I can say is please stay away from me and my family. It would not be good for anyone.
Please stay away from me and my family.
If you're a weird ass Nazi, please stay away from us.
Stay the fuck away. Yeah. Yeah. Damn, Pyro. I need better. I
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
Oh, crap, dude. Okay, fuck it. I'm probably gonna get off here.
Damn, did I really just kick you off? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not. It's not that. My back's fucking killing me. I'm already awake way later than I fucking should be.
Oh, shit. It's probably like 6 a.m. there, right?
5.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I came to speak to you about fucking 3, didn't I? But
yeah,
I'm just having one of those fucking insomnia nights. How it goes. But I think
it was good talking to you.
Yeah, man. It was nice catching up with you and catching up with Pyro too. I love shooting the shit with Pyro.
It was a good chatting with you again.
Yeah, anytime, dude. Just fucking hit me up. Like, don't have to be a stranger. That shit's your choice. But yeah.
I thought I was going to take accountability for that.
Yeah, same goes for you, to be honest. Unless like,
yeah,
you ever want to talk about some shit, just send me a DM. I'm always around on Discord and Twitter.
Oh yeah,
just,
I'm thinking I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back a little bit. I'm back.
Yeah. If you back, you want to talk cults. I love talking cults. Like, just hit me the fuck up. All right,
yeah.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
Have a good one.
Peace, Viv.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I didn't mean to get so doomer, but like that's just one of my fears that like the quote unquote leftist movement ain't there, and it's like we going down a slide, and I don't like the end of the slide, nigga. Especially being a nigga.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's gonna be, just like there's always been, there's gonna be ways that people can like support each other in the community and shit. But yeah, especially in like Florida and shit, we're moving in a weird ass direction. People are moving funny.
Bro, it's wild to think that like niggas gotta actually flee states again because it's not safe. And I mean, just like the laws are unambiguous. Like we're trying to keep the, you know,
but like
slurs out of our room. Like, I'm not talking
about
like
it's like, of course, it's like this is America. Like these funky ass white people always just want to fucking, like, I don't know, yo. And this is what's goofy to me about the whole black on black crime, fucking gang violence, fucking what about people killing each other in the neighborhood shit. If you want to look at the most violent demographic in American history, all you need to do is look at the period of time between the Civil War and fucking 1964.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, bruh. Everyone wants to talk about the black on black crime in the black community, but it's like, my nigga, America's a violent country. And that's not even to say anything on black people. Like, you just look across the board, Everyone's killing everyone.
White people are by far the most fucking violent demographic.
Like, what's the fucking statistic? Like, oh, who do white people kill more? Well, it's not black people, it's other white people. Like, yeah. What about the white on white crime, my nigga? Like, what about that? Like, seems like y'all kill a lot of y'all selves too.
Y'all fucking they fucking do riots when their favorite sport wins. Like when their favorite sports team wins.
So it's like for me, it's
8
like
people gotta
even,
die.
It's not even a discussion I want to have with white people when it comes to like black on black crime, because it's like maybe there is a discussion we can have in the black community about that, but it's like, yo, dumbass, don't need to be involved when you can't even handle the emotional highs and lows of winning college fucking basketball. Like, suck my ass.
That shit is crazy.
Intensely wild.
Probably finna raid out as well.
Bet I feel it. Y'all up. It's 11:56. Y'all up late. Bro, my fucking kitchen was hot as shit. They had the fucking overhead fan off, and that shit was just baking.
I got the AC on all day. I still got a shower. I wash all this fucking chalk off my body.
I got a shower too. I smell like a goddamn brisket.
Just got hella chalk all on my hands and feet from rock climbing. Man's choked up.
Toked up.
Cheeched.
Yeah, bro.
Fucking cheeched. Alright, who am I raid into? Oh, shit. Let's raid into MF Slayer.
Oh shit, Magic's live.
I'm a raid Slayer though.
Bet.
Alright, y'all, let's watch some Mortal Kombat. It's gonna be tight.
Toy.
Now we can talk shit about Dylan Burke.
Bo, girl, go ahead. I know